Hello, everyone. Welcome back to The Enemy Within. It's been a hot freaking minute and then some since we last played in this campaign, but I am super duper thrilled to be back in the GM seat. Not a seat that I'm 100% used to, but one that I'm trying to get better at as we go. But in any event, where we left off a month ago, I'm going to take a good minute just to remind everyone of a number of important things. So, our current crew, being Astaroth, Sigmund, Lenny, and Dorthandril, are on the Berebelli after a night of shenanigans in the city of Altdorf. Things of notable import that took place is that the main three, or the original three, I should say, of Astaroth, Lenny, or not Lenny, Dorthandril, and Sigmund showed up in Altdorf, and after exploring the city a little bit, they saw a parade with the Emperor, which has apparently been happening a lot, and there's a lot of rumors about that. Their dwarf companion Thind was pickpocketed and not only lost all of his money, but also lost some stuff he had taken from some other people who were no longer alive. And after that little incident, he snuck off in the morning to go deal with this personal grudgement and get back things that had been taken from him after the party spent a night in an inn on the Road of 1,000 Taverns and all that. And they explored around the city where they ran into Lenny, son of Lenny, a very unique individual who definitely is not native, but where he is from may not be certainly obvious. After discussing with them a bit, he joined up with them looking for a group of like-minded individuals because word had gotten out that Prince Tassernick was looking for adventurers, that people were wanted. No, it is Crown Prince. I was right the first time. Hergard von Tassernick, who is the Elector Count of, or the son of the Elector Count, I believe, of Ostland, is looking for adventurers. He's paying a lot of money. So Lenny heard about this, is really looking to get out of life on just the boat, and saw an opportunity and jumped at it. So the party seems to have been at least somewhat convinced by his ideas, especially when talking about chasing a manticore, and they heard that they had actually missed von Tassernick, but he had been last sighted heading down towards Bogenhafen, where he will apparently be setting off from there to head into the Grey Mountains on some sort of expedition, which is convenient as the original three members of the party, or at least the more insane ones, are chasing after a manticore who has been terrorizing much of the Northern Empire and seems to be heading south. The party seems to have some pretty solid indications that the beast may be heading for Bogenhafen, because that's where the Schaffenfest is about to begin. The Schaffenfest being a very big, awesome festival that takes place once a year to celebrate kind of the blah, 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 my brain.
Like a fall festival.
Yes, it is. It's to celebrate Mitterfall, generally speaking, which is the spring equinox, which is actually coming up quite quick. So being a large gathering of people, and especially animals, because there's no tax on selling like livestock and beasts, horses, cattle, etc. Lots and lots of people are gathering there, and lots of meat is gathering there, which may indicate, well, that this particular entity may also be arriving if it's looking for a solid meal. It has proven rather elusive, though. One of its antics that y'all actually bore witness to was that it slaughtered a group of Knights Panther that had set out from Karlberg, as you later learned, including an individual named of the Reifenbach family, who, after he was slaughtered, Astaroth took his sword and, instead of just keeping it, which he very easily could have, actually returned it to the chapter house here in Altdorf. By doing so, you were introduced to, very briefly, to a number of individuals in the chapter house. Most notably, you met the man in command himself, Grandmaster Hermann Röntgen from Ostermark, who told you to come back in the morning, because he has been impressed by this act of chivalrous nature and has extended to you the opportunity to become a squire in the Knights Panther, which you did accept. So you do need to return in the morning. Some other things that happened that I'm just going to be reminding just because it's been so long and these are important details. As y'all made your way to Altdorf proper along the Mindenheim-Altdorf road, you did encounter a carriage that had been attacked by raiding mutants, and the carriage had been destroyed, and you yourselves were attacked. You killed most of the mutants, though one of them did escape. And Dorothandrel nearly got cut in half by one of them. And after a whole bunch of shenanigans, you discovered a man apparently named Castor Lieberung who looked exactly down to the finest of details like Sigmund. You did find a letter on his person that Sigmund now possesses that claims that whoever possesses that letter is in fact Castor Lieberung, along with another letter stating that Castor Lieberung is entitled to a deed of ennoblemanship, making them a noble, as well as a large fortune waiting for them in the town of Bogenhafen. Almost like things are aligning or something. Beyond that, after you arrived in Altdorf and you met with Lenny, you did learn that Lenny also knew of one other important detail, hence why teaming up with him worked out well, which is that he knows Anton. Turns out Anton is working on the Berebelli, at least last you heard. Anton being a friend of Then's, a young pale man with reddish hair, according to Thend, who had gotten wrapped up in some not so savory shenanigans involving the gangs of the less kind parts of Mindenheim, where a very impressive shipment of guns sent from Nuln had pretty much all been stolen and handed out to those they were not meant for in that city. Very unfortunate. But Anton was somehow involved and supposedly escaped with some of them from the city. And last you heard from Lenny himself is that Anton is employed on this vessel and has one gun in his possession, though apparently it is a very, very nice piece of craftsmanship. After that, Lenny took you to the Berebelli, though not before you had a bit of a strange incident wandering on the city of Altdorf, where two weird individuals were making some very bizarre gestures at you. They kept staring at Sigmund in particular and trying to... they were looking for some reason. They just kept staring at him and reaching over their heads with their left arms to scratch at their right ears. It was very peculiar, but before you could get any answers from them, they vanished behind a door that they seemed very, very eager to get through before Astaroth could catch them. And then later on, you saw them on your way back to the Berebelli, but before you could successfully spring an ambush on them to find out who they were, the two of them were brutally murdered by some mysterious crossbow-wielding assailant. You did not see them, so whoever it was must have been quite skilled to land those shots and scamper off before you could ID that individual. However, that was pretty much the end of that particular thing. If I recall specifically, none of y'all searched their bodies and just wanted to be done with that and move on. So you have now arrived on the Berebelli. It was late. You had just witnessed 2 surprise murders. Everyone was tired, and you turned in for an evening with a promise that you could meet Anton on the morrow. So, is there anything that is there any questions anybody has, or anything else anyone wants to contribute to that particular collection of information before we begin in proper?
No, we went to the bar and had the confrontation with the nobles.
Yes, one of you did punch a noble's son in the face. That is correct. And you also got into a little bit of a bar brawl, though you won quite handedly. And surprisingly did not kill your assailant, because he rolled so goddamn badly.
No, I'm also.
No,
I
that's
think
everything. Just also the fact that tomorrow morning we have Astro
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I do need to kind of sneak out before everybody else.
Roth's initiation to the Nightly Order.
Yes, and more. Yes. So, actually, I need to check one tiny little thing, and then we're all set. But it's good to be back. Appreciate you all making the time, and we are going to be ready to hop right into it. All right. So, the morning has come. Three of you are able to fall asleep early. Lenny, you find yourself restless as always, struggling with insomnia that you've always had, especially down in this part of the Empire where it's particularly noisy. Altdorf, ever since you've pulled into Altdorf, there's been just something wrong. Like, you're not able to really relax here. It's always like there's something, like the hair on your back is permanently standing up for some reason in this weird city. But maybe it's just the way these people live and they've just gotten used to it. But nonetheless, there is something just not correct about Altdorf. But in any event, eventually you are able to drift off to sleep, and none of you have any dreams. It is just a purely you essentially blink and you've awoken. And we will go with Astaroth. You have a pretty big day today. That kind of nervous energy stirs you from your slumber earlier than anyone else, and you find that you are awake, and it is quite literally not even the crack of dawn yet. Like, the sky has started to light up a little bit in the west, but the sun is not close to really peaking up yet.
Stumble out of bed, and I just look at myself. I'm like, oh, I better clean what I can. I start nervously, like, trying to get every just little stain out of my clothes that I can, and make everything look nice and puffy, and clean my bow, and clean my knife, and try and shave with a rusty razor that I found. And I will head out.
You do have a knife.
That's true.
That'll suffice.
I'll shave with my knife, and as soon as the sun starts to peek over, I'll make my way down.
Okay.
Is everyone still asleep?
They will all wake up unless you specifically want to wake someone up. No one is woken by your antics.
Okay, cool. Then I will just take my leave, because I'm sure everyone knows that I had to do this, so they won't leave without me.
Okay.
At least I will trust them not to leave without me.
If I recall correctly, you have like a comb and a bunch of other stuff for like making yourself look nice, right?
You know what? I think so. Thought I gave that to Sandra, but maybe I didn't. Nope, I do. I have a mirror comb. Cool. Yeah, I will utilize those. Absolutely.
Perfect. Well, with that, you are able to make yourself look more than presentable. Probably nicer than you've ever looked for anything or for anyone, which is, not necessarily the nicest thing to say about the women you've encountered in your life, but, whatever works. And if you so wish, you are able to slip out without causing much in the way of commotion quite easily.
Okay. I will do so.
All right, are you going to walk all the way to the chapter house, or are you going to try and hail a taxi or a little cart?
I'll hail a cart. I have enough coin for it.
All right, it's pretty easy once you get out on the docks proper for the city. There's already a handful of individuals who are sitting on their various little carriages and wagons. Most of whom are bundled up against the brisk morning air, especially because a lot of the fog is still clinging very heavily to the docks. So it is pretty chill out. Not freezing by any means, but it's not pleasant if you're in very short sleeves. So a lot of them are kind of hugging to themselves and breathing into their hands, trying to stay warm, especially as the sun's not out yet. But you're very easily able to spot one of them, make your way towards it, and as he sees you approaching, he kind of looks over and says, "Oh, you looking for a ride?"
Yes, I am. How much to get to the Nice Panther chapter house?
I can get you there for... he kind of thinks for a moment. He says, I can get you there for about 10 finnings.
10 brass pennies?
Yeah.
Okay, I will give him 20. I'll give him double and say, get me there as fast as you can.
Right away, sir. Right away. All right, you gonna hop on in?
Yep, I'm going to hop right on in. Be
Right.
like, please hurry.
Yeah,
I need to get there soon.
He cracks away and says, right, we're off. And you are able to settle in, nerves only continuing to rise as he makes great haste into the city. Luckily, it's not terribly far to get to that south side of Altdorf. And it's early enough in the morning that not a ton of people started to stir yet. There's quite a bit going on in the city. And that nervous energy is definitely present. If anything, it's heightening your own nerves, making it even worse. But there's hopefully not going to be any issues along the way. Meanwhile, back in the boat, Dorthandrel, you awaken from the realm of dreams. Except for you didn't have any dreams. There's something wrong with this place.
Ah, the comfort of a boat. Even if it does smell a bit. Dorthan will get up and begin just walking around the boat, enjoying being on water again.
All right, you're able to head out onto the deck proper and just move along the bow and aft of the vessel, enjoying how it just sort of lists in the waves of the Reich as various ships are already on the move. And as you're kind of looking out across the port of Altdorf, you're able to just see just hundreds upon hundreds of different vessels of all shapes and sizes. You do note there are quite a few extremely large, impressive vessels. You're likely some sort of fleet, perhaps. You've heard rumors, more than seen for yourself, that Altdorf has a fleet, though you've never heard of it being used.
Certain you think it would ruin its value or cause it to sink?
Yes, the collector's philosophy. Is there anything in particular you want to do in the morning, or are you just going to sort of enjoy the aspect of not being on solid land for the first time in weeks?
Enjoy the aspect, and if one of the sailors is nearby, I will point at random boats and inquire, what kind of vessel is that?
Roll me a easy gossip check. Oh, you are actually able to get the attention of a pair of sailors who have started off their morning early. They seem like the very unusual type of sailor in that they don't appear terribly hungover, as if they seem very committed and straightforward to their job and don't waste time or finances on other things that would impose them performing their duties. And upon seeing a high elf and a little bit of a back and forth, one of them does note, you're an elf. You hail from the island.
No, I've spent most of my time in Marienburg.
Marienburg elf. We've had many a good time speaking with the sea elves of Marienburg. What brings you all the way to Altdorf?
Oh, misfortune. But, more to the point, that vessel over there, the three-master, with the mast in the middle of it lists a bit to the port, is that typical of that type of vessel?
You are able to engage in some back and forth on many different kinds of ships that are pulled in to the port. Most of the larger, more impressive ships are like Imperial galleons or Imperial great ships, a couple of Imperial wolf ships. Nothing particularly special. You're probably the biggest one that your attention is drawn to is the, oh my gosh, my brain, hold on, I have it. It's the Emperor Luitpold, which is an absolute monster of a vessel. But one of the things you note is every time they point out a boat and you have a little bit of a back and forth about it, these great Imperial great ships or wolf ships, just any of them, every single time they kind of add an addendum of, oh yes, great vessel, like 100 cannons, 500 cannons, 1,000 cannons, never been out to sea. Every single time it comes with a never been out to sea addendum.
So your boats, then, are used for storing cannons?
Well, no, they're for war, but you see, the tolls getting out of Marienburg are quite expensive. Don't think the Emperor cares for paying them. They do leave the Altdorf port. Rarely. Sometimes.
So they don't really sail that
No.
much.
They do look mighty good, though.
It is impressive how they haven't sunk. With all that gold ornamentation. Does that one have a giant statue at its front?
Yeah. Yes, you do see the oh gosh, I'm trying to remember what that stupid ship's called. You do see the personal vessel of the Grand Theogonist off in the distance. You do hear
the Heldenhammer?
Yes, the Heldenhammer, I believe. They do tell you, yes, very recent commission. It's barely been out here even for less than a year. It's completed as a gift for the Grand Theogonist.
Well, perhaps he will take it out to sea someday.
Ha! Doubt it. All he ever does is sit around politicking. Not the going out sort. Those Sigmarites all talk. Unlike those of us who know Manan would not abide idle hands.
Dorthander will just give a nod of acceptance to this. So, how is it this boat functions?
They kind of run you through what they know about it, as far as most of them rely very, very heavily on impressive and large sails, but they're also capable of deploying rowers if needed. It's believed that if they were to ever take to sea, they would be an impressive, near unstoppable fleet, but that hasn't necessarily been put to the test yet.
Well, I'm certain there are many great minds have thought behind how great this inland fleet is.
Also,
And how useful it will be once it's gone.
Real quick, Astaroth, would you roll me a D100?
Sure.
Also, I need to advance the calendar, because it is now the 19th of... Nope, that's not right. It is the 20... Yes, it is the 25th of Yardrung. You got 79. Okay. Cool. All right. All right, Dorthandra, as you continue to kind of have your back and forths with all of those various individuals about ships. Sigmund, you wake up.
Good to see that Dorthandra and Astra are already gone. Makes his way up onto the deck and then see Dorthandra there.
Yeah, he seems engaged in a lively conversation about boats. Very thrilling.
Did you happen to see Astaroth in the morning?
Oh, no. I believe he left early.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna sit here, and when Anton comes up those stairs, we're gonna have a chat.
Okay. So you just
Anton, how long has he been working on the boat? I say to the two sailors.
they look at you and say, "Who's Anton?"
Ah, must be a new hire then.
Do you continue just kind of chatting with them off and on, or are you pretty much done with them?
I continue chatting with them, and I'll take out my line and hooks and start fishing.
I will note that it becomes readily apparent as you're chatting with them. These men don't work on the Berebelli. They just happen to be passing by where you hailed them from. They don't seem in any particular rush, but they are not members of your crew.
Oh, no. I will continue to talk to them from the Berebelli to the dock as long as they are willing to chat about boats.
Oh, they are all too willing to do that. Like a hilarious amount. Though they do actually mention kind of an interesting thing to you as they're talking. As you are chatting, one of them says, "So, and Sigmund, you're around for this part of the conversation." He says, "So where are y'all heading?"
There's a Schaffenfest festival that I've heard is supposedly quite interesting.
Ah, you're going to the Schaffenfest, is it?
Yes, that thing.
Ah, gotta say we're jealous. Would be nice to be heading down there ourselves. It's supposed to be a roaring great time. Our work never takes us that far down the river, though.
Oh, where do you usually go?
Normally we take vessels up to Marienburg and then set out to sea from there. Just finished delivering to Altdorf, so we've got some free time to patrol the city.
Dorothender's eyes will go dreamy at the thought of the sea.
That being said, though, things are strange around here. Last time we were in Altdorf, it was bustling, sure, but things now are... The city just feels strange. Bet it has to do with all those wizards they've got up in there. Too much magic.
Yes, the wizards. I glance at the sky. Is the weirdness in the sky still there?
Yes. It's not the same as it was, but there are little... the best way to describe it is not so much seeing stuff, but more like... it's like if you squeeze your eyes really tight, you almost get like those little squigglies of weird blinking light that you could see when your eyes are open or closed. It's like you catch a glimpse of something like one of those every once in a while. Near imperceptible, but there if you look for it.
I will say there is a particular amount of unhealthy looking fog in this city.
One of them nods and says, the fog's been here longer than men have. At least that's what I hear it. Well, in any event, you take care now. We should be getting back over to our vessel. Make sure the captain's not giving people things to do. Don't want to catch lessons for being lazy.
Dorthunder will nod and then lean over to Sigmund. What are these lashings they're referring to?
It's a form of punishment that doesn't involve imprisonment. It's taking a whip to their back, generally without the shirt on.
Nothing will give you a shocked look. What? That is barbaric.
Lenny, you wake up.
Yeah. looks around a bit at the completely empty room that he wakes up in. Takes a look outside, sees a little bit later than he would have preferred to wake up. Fluffs up his beard real quick, gets some mop and bucket, and heads up to start cleaning.
All right, as you do, and you make your way through up towards the main deck, you do hear Yosef groaning as he does every morning, due to the after effects. He often suffers from the copious amount of wine he drinks practically every day, coming from his cabin. And you do also hear motion coming from your other compatriots' cabin, where Wolmar and Gilda are, along with they have their daughter Elsa in there, who you very rarely ever see, as she's very young. She's basically still a baby. And that actually is where Anton has been put up with Yosef the last little while, probably to for reasons that have never quite been explained to you. Yosef always just kind of hand waves them off as some sort of arrangement between the two of them.
Okay. Cool. As I get above deck. Hey! Why do you look so displeased this morning, looking at Dorothandel? Did something happen?
You have some shocking methods of punishment.
Oh, and you don't?
Well, nothing like lashing. That's very Druchi.
Oh. Honestly, I've seen worse, but it's punishment. Punishment is punishment, but at least it's avoidable here. But
So it is not common then.
You have never seen Johann even entertain the idea of lashing someone.
Not common as far as I know. But I've heard of it. Why is this is this a problem? Well, more importantly, actually, how do you keep your crews in check? I guess much like Yosef here.
Honor and dignity are among the most efficient manner of keeping a crew in line.
So I can trust you to be very honorable?
Well, that and knowing that you can talk to their great-great-great-great-grandfather and he can shape them up if they don't.
Good to know. And you? Looks over to Sigmund. Are you familiar with I have not seen the practice myself, but if I ever do anything wrong, are you going to?
No.
Okay.
I've only heard of it, but I mean, the people I catch are like street rats and stuff. No one throw them in jail for a couple days or put them to work cleaning the city or something like that. Nothing that would require lashes like that.
Okay. Well, good to know. Because I can definitely clean, and he will continue mopping down the deck.
As you're all discussing amongst yourselves, you hear thumping boots coming up the stairs from the interior of the ship, and out comes Yosef, who already has a wine bottle in one hand, and he grunts a bit as he reaches over and pulls the cork from it, and he takes a very long swig before pulling it back down and looking at the three of you, and he sort of blearily rubs at his eyes for a second, looks again, and then he just sort of grins and says, "Ah, early risers!"
Been on the road a while. Helps to make most use of the time.
I'm pretty sure you're just a late riser. Keeps mopping.
Stuff it, Lenny. He starts working his way up to the wheel and says, "We've got cargo coming on this morning. Make sure you stay out of the way of the dock hands. And don't help them. Guild doesn't like that."
And do.
Yeah, I don't think we have to be told twice to not work.
It's actually not too long after he says that you see a number of burly individuals start turning up outside the Berebelli, waiting before some other wagons come by carrying a fair number of cargo. And as the three of you are able kind of to begin your chats, quite a bit of mostly wine begins to be loaded on to the Berebelli, with Yosef occasionally yelling down at the dockhands from his little perch up by the wheel between swigs of wine. Meanwhile, Astaroth, you are riding through the city, making great haste, and doing your best to remain calm and keep your heart rate at a reasonable rhythm as the carriage driver plods along. He attempts to make conversation with you a few times, but your nerves are kind of like growing so much to almost a fever pitch that you don't really offer much to him besides one-word responses, and he kind of catches on to the theme and stops really trying to engage you in conversation. But it takes less than an hour. It does take a little bit. The sun has started to peek over the horizon. The rays are being cast out, and the fog is actually, surprisingly, beginning to disperse this morning. And the skies are cloudy, but it doesn't look like it's going to rain for once. And you pull up outside the chapter house of the Knights Panther, and you hear him shout, "All right, we're here, my lord."
Thank you, sir. And I jump up so fast that I almost trip getting out of the carriage. I stumble to the ground, and then I dust off my coat, and then I dust off my boots, and then I pull my wrist cuffs, and then I pat my hair, and I spend a good, 5 minutes just excessively checking myself before I take a deep breath and say, all right, let's get it on then, and I will ascend the steps of the chapter house.
You make your way in, and as you push at the large Drakewald oak doors, they noisily creak open, and you're able to slip inside. And you see that there's already a fair amount of bustle going on. There are various individuals standing in different states of armored dress. It's very rare to see someone in full kit. Normally they are just standing around in their leather armors, maybe with little bits of mail, typically because getting on anything heavier often requires aid. Not always, but often. And as you enter, you kind of expect there to be some sort of notable greeting party, but no one pays you any mind at all. Everyone is sort of busy with their own tasks, consulting various maps, looking at tables that have little pieces on them over various strategic markers that seem to be charting out some sort of information. You see some addressing various posters or written missives that are pinned to some sort of board. And it's not quiet, but it's also not terribly loud. It's like a soft murmur of men ranging from typically their early 20s to their late 50s, rumbling to one another about various issues and mundane tasks.
Is there anybody obviously low ranking, like a squire, that I can see?
Towards the center of the room, there actually is, calling it a greeting desk would not be correct, but there is sort of like a central podium, like a large wooden circle that has all sorts of various things on it, pens or quills and ink, various missives and papers that are addressed to individuals who perhaps will come here to pick them up or are waiting to be sent out. And you do actually spot a familiar face. You see another man who's a small bit older than you, that you recognize from the first time you came here. He is, I guess you could call a fellow novice, so you're not technically a novice yet. who actually stuck up for you when you initially came in and nearly found yourself beheaded by Helmut von Harbingen. This individual, whose name you only caught as Oberhalt, was actually the one who called for him to stay his hand, which proved a little critical in you not getting your head lopped off, at least from the way that event felt. He seems to just be... He's standing around in not quite plains clothes, but barely any... Like, he's got a leather coif on and a jack, but that's about it. Other than that, he's dressed in fairly nice quality clothing of, like, blues and whites, showing off the colors of the chapter, while musing over the various papers that are spread out across the desk.
Okay, I'll approach him. I'll make sure he notices me, and as I walk up, I'll drop down to one knee, and I'll say, "Sir Squire, good morning. Blessings of Sigma upon you. I'm sorry to disturb you. The Grand Master is expecting me. Could you please send word that I have arrived and gain his permission for me to enter and see him?"
He looks down and goes, "Good gods, man, stand up. You're embarrassing yourself."
Yeah, I'll jump up almost as if to attention.
You don't need to bow to everyone. In fact, you really shouldn't be going down on your knee to anyone, save an Elector Count or the Emperor. Even the Grand Masters will suffice with just a bow.
Oh, that's news to me. That's not how I was raised. I'm not really accustomed to the customs of such a place as Altdorf. I grew up a peasant in a small town outside of Talabecklin, so this is all very new to me.
He sort of looks you up and down. He goes, from yesterday. I remember now. That was quite a stir you caused.
But it was the right thing to do. I knew that my untimely death might be a very well possibility, but I wouldn't have felt right hanging on to such a weapon of status, I guess you could say.
I think you made the right choice. Better
I do
to
too.
have a clear conscience, even if it sends you to more early, than to be a lowly thief.
I would rather go to more an honest man than to die a thief.
He nods and sort of smirks and says, "I thought von Harbingen was going to... his head was going to explode." It was nice.
Right.
I must confess, it was enjoyable seeing him be so riled. He sort of glances around to make sure no one's really listening on our conversation and leans conspiratorially towards you and says, "He's an ass."
I'll just slightly nod. As not to put my own opinion into the matter, but I'll just slightly nod.
He does hold out his arm to you for a greeting. It says, "I don't believe I've had an opportunity to introduce myself proper. Everything was so chaotic yesterday. I am Viscount Noric Oberhalt."
Asteroth von Perlstein. And I'll shake his hand. I hail from Tallegrad.
He gives you a firm grip and nods respectfully and says, "I agree with the Grand Master in the chivalrousness of your actions. You don't look like a peasant, I must say. Your breeding must be good, at least."
Glad you think so. I feel as though the rest of the world disagrees.
"Well, perhaps your blood is muddled a bit. After all, many of the noble class do have... Well, let's say that not all of their sons live at home."
I believe my family is a product of this somewhere far down the line. Although both my parents were not nobles. There are stories my father would tell of our great ancestors being a fairly upstart family in Talabecklin.
Perhaps it is so. I shall go inform the Grand Master that you are here.
I will wait here.
Do try not to get decapitated before I return.
I have no more artifacts to turn in, so I believe we'll be okay.
He does walk back and vanishes around a corner, and you're sort of left just having to twiddle your thumbs as minutes pass.
Could I roll for a gossip check just to see what I hear
Yeah,
the
sure.
knights
Roll,
discussing while I'm in here?
What is your status?
Right now?
Yes, right.
Silver 3.
What was your status before that?
I do not remember because the character sheet has been updated for the Knights Panther.
Hold on.
I was just a peasant huntsman.
I will be able to check. Let's see. Astro.
I think it was like a brass something. It was a brass something.
Advances. Open that. You were a brass 2. Whew, okay. Yes, you may roll a. You're going to roll. So you're basically just trying to listen in on conversations.
Yeah, just to see what I hear the knights and other squires discussing while I wait.
Sure. Roll. You can roll a challenging gossip check. Oh, very nice. You definitely get the vibe that you need to listen in.
So with Astaroth.
Yeah, you definitely get the vibe that you need to listen in discreetly. As anytime someone's eyes set upon you, there's kind of a flick of disgust, though some of them seem to look upon you with some form of amusement. But you do actually pick up on an interesting conversation between an older gentleman with a very long white beard that he's actually sort of braided into like a series of knots to keep it contained close to his face. And he is pretty much regimented up in full gear as if he's going to be leaving soon. He even has his helm with a motif of a great cat in the midst of pouncing, carved out of gold on the top of it, with wings coming out to either side. And he's speaking to a younger man. Looks to be maybe a squire, perhaps just a knight of a lower rank, who definitely has a very eager look about him. And the younger man is eagerly looking at his superior and saying, I'm saying that we should ride out immediately. Colonel Sievers of the Imperial Auslanders has returned from the Border Princes. That means the Greenskins must have been defeated. It's a great victory for us. We should be going out to speak with them, to learn. That way we can gather more information on how to fight the Urks ourselves. And the older man looks at him and scoffs and says, don't believe that rubbish. Sievers, the Auslanders, they lost. They claim they're here to celebrate victory. Oh, they want all the pomp and circumstance, but believe me, boy, they came back. They're trying too hard. They're missing too many wounded. They're putting on a performance. They stink of it. I've already had missives from further down south, a compatriot of mine from the Border Princes, and I've even heard rumors from Averheim. No, the Greenskins aren't defeated. In fact, now they're even stronger than they were before, now that those idiots have stirred them up. The fools. And the young man looks a little crestfallen and says, what? That can't possibly be true. Surely they wouldn't just come up here and be lying about it. I mean, when word got out, they'd be terribly embarrassed. And he says, when word gets out, they'll be back in Ostland. They'll be north of here, far from any criticisms, and more importantly, far from any rampaging greenskin whores coming up from the south. I knew we shouldn't have trusted it to them. Never let us northerner do a southerner's job. It should have been us out there riding down the greenskins, not those fools. You can't trust them. Too close to Kislev. Too worried about their own necks and not enough about the Empire as a whole, I say. The younger man kind of pales a little bit and says, what will we do? And he kind of grips his helmet tighter and says, we will prepare. We will ride out and meet them. No doubt that horde of chaos worshippers that came up through the Border Princes a few years back were responsible for this. Likely they stirred up the greenskin filth. Wherever battle begins to run away, become a part of life, orcs always begin to turn up. They're drawn to it. And he turns to the younger man, nods, and says, "Focus on your training. I ride out. I'll be heading down to Averheim to see if I can learn more information. Hopefully, this chapter house will finally have something to do. And Röntgen will stop wasting our time on Altdorf politics." And with that, he kind of slams on his helmet, and the younger man bows low, looking not terribly optimistic or thrilled as the older knight stalks out the door.
Astaroth shudders at the thought. While him and his family have never really dealt with orcs directly, living outside of Talabecland, their experiences have been more with Norse raiders and beastmen. He's heard stories. He's heard stories from his father, and so the thought of a green skid horde.
You've definitely had your fair share of goblin problems. Most notably, like forest goblins. Orcs are they're a bit more of a rarity. Not, they're about, but like in large numbers, yeah, they're certainly quite rare.
I've heard nothing but stories from my father and my father's friends, so I shudder at the thought, and I kind of believe both of them. Part of me believes that the Ostlanders did return because they are victorious, and part of me also doesn't doubt the older gentleman's wisdom and the possibility that he's correct. Part of me does believe he might be a little bit cynical. Not that it matters, but could I roll for intuition just to kind of see if I can gauge which one of them was right?
You don't need to roll for it. You feel pretty confident that based on the way the conversation went and kind of the vibes you were getting, it really felt like the younger man was just sort of spewing out some information that he probably heard on the street or in a local tavern, as opposed to the actual proper knight himself seemed to be speaking from much more of an authoritative position of information, like first-hand sources, not eighth-hand sources.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I will take that into note, and Astaroth, while he's waiting, will wonder if the problem goes unchecked, if the problem will spill over into Averheim, which it seems impossible, but
wouldn't be the first time it's happened.
Impossible. Yeah, exactly.
By the time that, as you're kind of left pondering that and what that may mean for the Empire as a whole, much less Averheim, Oberhalt comes back around the corner, and he has a more stern look on his face than when he kind of originally left you, and he nods to you and gives you a small kind of "come with me" gesture.
And I immediately, briskly make my way over to him and join him.
All right. As you're walking through the halls of the chapter house, you really get to take in how beautiful the chapter house of the Knights Panther is. There are all sorts of tapestries dedicated to the history of their chapter. You see a lot of them seeming to reference the far-off lands of Araby, which you're able to guess by all of the deserts and the very peculiar style of dress of the individuals they're fighting and the bizarre-looking swords that they're wielding, as well as various images of a more mountainous environment where you see these incredibly large cats depicted, which you've seen some great cats in your life out in the forests of the Empire, but these creatures are very different from the ones in the Empire, which tend to be much more heavily covered in fur. The ones that are depicted are far more sleek and have very exotic patterns, and you can see that they're rippled with muscles. They're practically, some of them are seemingly as large as or nearly as large as a full horse. And a few of them are completely black, but the vast majority of them have these exotic colorations of stripes and spots. And there's all these different frescoes and images and tapestries of knights facing off against these creatures. Sometimes seeing images where there's one knight who is has his throat clamped between the jaws of one of these beasts, while another two knights are impaling it with lances, or another image of a knight seeming to duel one of these creatures. And then as you're continuing to walk down the halls, you start to see actual pelts hanging from the walls that seem to have little notes next to them about who acquired them and where they belong to. Apparently these legendary inner circle knights or grandmasters from ages long past, and pelts that they supposedly earned fighting down in the those mountains in the Southlands, as well as many more modern things. You see a stuffed creature actually that is said to be native to your lands, though once again it's quite a bit more ferocious and larger than the great cats you're used to seeing out in the forests of your part of the empire. But nonetheless, they seem to have quite the interest and sort of legacy of facing off with these creatures and claiming their pelts as prizes.
Are there, where we're walking down these great halls, is there a lot of people, or is it empty enough that I could get away with talking to this other scribe?
There's like it's mostly like staff, not really knights at this point. It seems most of the knights are either congregated in the main hall or are elsewhere in the chapter house. This area, you mostly just see servants that are cleaning or bringing trays of food or various other bits of random assorted items to other parts of the chapter house. As far as you feel, it does not feel private. If you were a noble, it might feel private, but you are all too aware of the similar social status eyes and ears that are around you.
Okay, I'll keep to myself then.
All right. After
I'm just in awe of the pelts and everything that I'm seeing.
You continue to walk down this grand hallway of various relics and impressive displays, and eventually you turn a corner and there is a door that's already open, one that you recognize that leads to the Grandmaster's personal chamber, where he seems to receive guests. But before you go any further, Oberhalt does kind of turn to you, and he whispers, "Be careful in there. Von Harbingen's here."
I will be. Thank you for the warning. I'll do my best. And I will knock. Are both doors open, or is only one of them open?
One door is open, the other one is closed.
I'll stand to the outside of the closed door and knock. I'll say, Astaroth von Hurlstein, guest you requesting permission to enter.
You hear a stern, "Come in."
And I'll come in and I will immediately drop to one knee.
In the brief moment before you throw yourself to the ground, you see two men are waiting for you. One, sitting at his desk, is Grandmaster Hermann Rocken, who is in full regalia. He does not have a helm on, but he has all of his plate on. He has these very resplendent blues and whites in various pieces of his armor. His helm is placed next to him on his desk, with a very impressive piece of a charging bull as kind of the large ornament on it. Though beneath that, the helm has been styled as if it is steel sprouting from the skull cap of a great cat. His pelt is hung around his shoulders, matching the colors of what we would typically associate with a cheetah, kind of a very impressive yellows and bright oranges with black spots across it. And he looks quite impressive, very regal, sitting in his almost throne-like carved chair. Standing behind him, just off to his left, is von Harbingen, who is also in his full plate. Though he does have his helm on, and he actually has a visor built in, so you cannot see his face. You are able to kind of catch the glint of his eyes, but other than that, he is completely encased in his armor, and his helmet does not have one of the little statuesque figurines on the top, but instead just has the full skull of a pure black panther that he has for the pelt worked into it, so that the creature's fangs are like coming down on either side of where his eyes would be, and it is fully kind of attached onto the helmet, almost as if the creature is biting down on him.
But I know you said I can only see his eyes. So I know who he is, correct? Or do I not?
You feel safe. You would feel safe summarizing based on what Norik told you, that this is the same man who nearly killed you yesterday.
Okay. Well, knowing this, and I drop to one knee, and I'll just repeat myself. Astaroth von Hurlstein reporting as you've requested, my lord.
The Grand Master gives you a bit of a wry smile and looks up at Helmet, and he says, "Do you think he's nervous, or do you think he's merely repeating himself because he thinks I'm deaf?"
Apologies, my lord. I did not mean to insult you, my lord.
He turns back to you, and he's got a little bit of a twinkling sparkle in his chipped ice blue eyes, and he gestures with his left hand. The metal, you can kind of hear it clinking or creaking a little bit every time he moves, and he says, "Rise, von Hurlsenstein."
Rise to a not so professional position of attention, as best as Astaroth can muster.
He will look you. His face gets far more serious looking. Like the smile kind of vanishes. He's not frowning or scowling. It's a very straight, kind of severe face, and he looks you dead in the eyes and kind of holds your gaze, and he says, "Do you understand what it is you are here to do?"
I do, my lord.
He continues to hold your gaze. Roll me a challenging cool check. You are able to maintain, although you can feel parts of yourself withering under that stare that feels like it sees more than it should. But eventually, after what feels like an eternity, a smile appears under his beard, though what really gives it away is the kind of the crinkles that show up at the edges of his eyes. And he nods and says, "Good. Very good." And he stands, and as he does so, you hear the knight behind him, von Harbingen, clear his throat. You hear a and the Grandmaster pauses, and he turns to look, and he says, "Yes?" And from within the armor, you hear, "This should not be allowed. Master Rontgen, I understand that this individual has impressed you with a meager display of self-preservation over greed. But he does not belong among us." Rontgen kind of sighs, but he squares up his shoulders, and he turns and looks back at this imposing figure and says, "That is not for you to decide. If you are so blinded by birth over action, then I cannot help but begin to question your position as my right hand." You think you detect the the sound of metal kind of scratching against other metal, but you're not able to confidently pick up exactly what is causing the sound, though you detect the slightest bit of what you could almost describe as a flinch from von Harbingen, and his eyes flick to you, and you are able to see you can, despite the fact that his eyes are not red by any means of the imagination, they are a mere and humble hazel, brown with little bits of green kind of lighting them up. You almost feel like there is a fiery red in his gaze, because such is the intensity that he stares at you with just loathing. Just absolute loathing. But he doesn't say anything else. And the Grandmaster steps forward and he reaches down to his hip and he draws his blade, which is a absolutely beautiful, finely crafted weapon that has almost a strange wave pattern melded into the steel. If you've ever seen like Damascus steel, it's kind of that similar pattern, where you could tell this thing was forged through some sort of almost otherworldly crafting process. And along it are runes that you are not able to read. But if you had to guess, which you are, you would probably feel confident that they're dwarven runes. And they flicker, they glow slightly with a bluish light. And as the blade clears the scabbard, it lets out this beautiful, pure ringing sound, like a satisfying conclusion to a scale of notes that just hovers for a moment. And he holds out the blade so that the point is hovering just a few inches in front of your chest. And he says, "Now, for the last time, as who you currently are, kneel."
And I will do so. And I won't do it the same way I've done the last couple times, immediately dropping. I'll slowly, with as much grace as Astaroth can muster, lower myself to the floor on one knee. And I bow my head.
All right. He will step forward and he rests the point so that it he does not put it at your shoulder like you expect. He actually hovers it just below your chin and is pressing it ever so slightly against your chin. And the moment you feel it, it feels bitterly cold to the touch. Like almost that level of cold where it feels like it burns. It doesn't. It's not like horribly painful, but it is unpleasant. Roll me another challenging cool test.
Oh.
You want to keep it?
I will re-roll it.
Okay.
Good thing I did.
Despite it, you do not flinch. You remain entirely 100% in position like a stone, and you catch a smirk at the edge of his mouth, and you hear him mutter very softly, "A very good." And he says, "Asterith von Herzenstein, do you accept your role in becoming..."
I do, my lord.
Oh,
sorry.
It's not done yet. in becoming a squire to the Knights Panther, to learn our ways, to excel in all matters martial, and to dedicate yourself to defending this empire, not in Sigmar's name, nor Tal's, nor Ulrich's, but in the name of the empire itself, in the name of the emperor himself. We do not fight for a god. We fight for it is just. We fight for it is right. We purge the mutants. We cast back the beasts of the wood. We cleave all that is unnatural and cast them back into the dark. This is not an oath taken lightly. Do you swear by your name, by the gods, and by your ancestors, that you will do all in your power to honor this bond?
I do, my lord. By my name, Astaroth von Hurlstein, by my father's name, David von Hurlstein, and his father before him, I do swear.
Then rise, Squire Astaroth von Hurlstein.
I rise to attention. And I will briefly say, my lord, I will prove myself in due time to the order, to my superiors, to you, and without turning my head from attention, I'll turn my eyes to, what's the other gentleman's name? I know you've already said it.
Yes, and you will probably want to write down these gentlemen's names somewhere in your notes. Helmut von Harbingen. Here, I'll post it in chat. I'll actually post all of their names in chat. So that, he does not like you. And he is also, you'll learn more about him, but he is the second in command of this particular chapter house.
I'll turn my eyes to von Halvergen, and I'll just say, and to you.
He doesn't respond, but Grandmaster Rontgen nods his head ever so slightly, almost imperceptibly. And he sort of looks you up and down and says, your case shall be somewhat unusual, but your inclusion into this chapter is unusual. We do not take purely from the stock of noble blood, despite what some may wish. That has never been the way we operate, and that shall not change under my rulership. Not in this chapter. However, typically, squires are meant to accompany a knight, or at the very least, train near or with the chapter house. But you have proven yourself exceptional. Without being charged or tasked by any man or god, you took it upon yourself to enter a dangerous place, retrieve an artifact of great importance to our order, and have seen it return so that it may be reunited with a proper owner. In recognition of that, I will allow you to continue to travel as you were, despite the fact that you are merely a squire. You hear a hiss of disapproval from behind him. He doesn't acknowledge it. And he says, I have prepared things for you to take with you. Tell me. I believe you may have mentioned this yesterday, but I am getting older. Where is it you said you were going next? You there? Oh. Earl?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I don't know what happened. I just had to unplug my headset and put it back in.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Did you hear what he said?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard what you said. I was talking and it wasn't responding.
Gotcha.
We're heading to the Schaffenfest to find the Manticore. The Manticore that has slain your Knight's Panther and has been plaguing the Empire. That was our original quest. We believe, due to the large amount of festivities and animals that will be present at the festival, that the Manticore might make an appearance. So that is where we were headed next, my lord.
Ha! Bogenhafen. And the Schaffenfest. That is an interesting theory. Perhaps we will look into sending some of our own there as well. Although I applaud you for your noble task, do be cautious not to bite off more than you can slay. He
Yes, my lord.
He will gesture to the door you pass through and say, in a moment, you will leave this room. When you do, turn left, and you will see a door at the end of the hallway. And there, on a chair within, you will find the things that you will be taking with you as part of your new role as a squire of the Knight's Panther. However, at this time, due to the sudden nature of your initiation, there is no steed ready for you. Fortunately, you are heading to the Schaffenfest, where a great many steeds shall be for sale. As such, I have arranged for there to be a pouch of an appropriate amount of coin provided to you so that you may acquire yourself a noble steed upon your arrival in Bogenhafen. It is imperative that you do this, and you begin your training immediately to get used to riding in the saddle. It is crucial for a knight to be able to fight and move as easily on horseback as he does on foot.
Yes, my lord. It will be done.
You will also, when possible, send missives here to the chapter house. You will address them to Oberholt, as he handles much of our incoming mail, to assure that we keep tabs on you and your dealings. You would be wise to be honest in what you are up to.
I will be nothing less.
He nods and says, "Very well then, Squire von Herlsenstein. You are dismissed."
GM, before I depart,
Yeah.
can I ask you two questions?
Yeah.
One, are bows shunned / not used by the Knight's Panther, or are bows still allowed to be used? I'm just curious.
You will need to ask somebody that. You do not know, unless you've got like lore heraldry or lore empire.
I have Lore Reichland. That's the closest
good.
thing I have
That's
to
good
Lore
enough.
Empire.
Roll me a challenging lore Reichland. Otherwise, you will need to ask someone. Wow, look at you on fire today. To your knowledge, Knight's Panther are not known for using ranged weapons.
Hurls, I'm glad we're moving
Yes.
Foundry so you can stop cheating.
I'm not, I swear. I don't know how to use computers, man.
I mean, he failed a check earlier, to be fair. He just then, immediately passed it again.
I just did that on purpose so it looked like I'm not cheating.
To your knowledge, based on like tales you've heard and like asking questions as you've grown up, and based on what you've seen, you have never seen a knight wielding a ranged weapon. Wait, you're from Talabheim, right? Or outside of Talabheim?
Yeah, outside of Talabheim.
Okay, that wouldn't fall under Lore Reichland. You have heard that there are knights out there who wield ranged weapons, but you have never seen it. Ever. And like, you've only heard the most fleeting of mentions. You're not even sure that they're actually real. there does seem to be a strong stigma against knights using ranged weapons as part of their knightly duties. However, you are not aware of any genuine statute or rule that states that they may not. It's just not something you've really ever seen. If you want to know more, you'll have to ask somebody.
Okay. And I guess it'd probably be the same for the second question. My second question is just what kind of horse do the Knights Panther or other Knight Orders particularly want you to buy?
You'll need at least a riding horse. So a horse that is... You will need at least a horse that is trained to be ridden. And it is used to having a person on its back. So at the very least, a riding horse. If you are incredibly wealthy or fortunate, you can easily get away with a significantly better caliber horse.
Okay.
But at the very least, you will need a riding horse.
Okay. Noted. So before I leave, I'll turn my eyes back to the Grandmaster and say, "My lord, before I depart, may I ask you of one question? And I apologize. It is due to my upbringing as," and I'll turn my eyes back to Harbingen and say, "as a peasant. So I have a lack of knowledge."
He actually... The Grandmaster frowns a little bit when you finish speaking, and he says, You should not speak of your upbringing in such a way. Here, while we acknowledge that there is something to be understood about the importance of noble blood in certain affairs, in our order, that carries significantly less weight, and you should not allow it to taint your understanding of your own nature, lest it hold you back in performing your duties.
Yes, my lord.
What is your question?
Growing up outside of Calabeckland, while I have hunted and slain beasts with sword, granted not on the caliber as the beasts of the history of the Knights Panther, I've been raised and trained mostly to use a bow. If I was to continue to use my bow in conjunction with my armament granted to me by the Knights Panther, would that bring disgrace upon the chapter? Or is that an acceptable means of combat?
He looks more bemused than anything, and responds, you seek almost to be a knight of Tall.
No, my lord.
He chuckles, and says, You are but a mere squire. It is not expected of you as yet to perform the full role of a fully recognized knight. You do not have the armor of a fully recognized knight, nor the steed, nor the weapons. So no, there is no penalty for you using what you must in order to survive. Some knights even continue to use such weapons. However, when you take to the field of battle, fully regimented, and are seeking to represent, then your skill in combat should take the greatest priority. A bow may be used for hunting. A bow may be used when it is needed, and there is no other choice. Not all of our enemies are so kind or chivalrous as to meet us upon the ground, and needs must when needs must.
Understood, my lord. Thank you, my lord. And I'll bow my head.
He will nod to you as he moves back to his desk, and he sits down and says, I look forward to seeing what you go on to accomplish, young squire.
As do I. Thank you. And I will do an about face and leave the room.
You feel eyes burning into your back.
Oh, I'm looking forward to the future.
I'm sure nothing will come of it.
No, I'm absolutely not.
All right. I assume you remember where he told you to go.
Yes, to the chair. There's a chair outside to the left of the room, I believe.
Yes. Well, there's a chair inside the room to the left. Yes. So you exit. You go to the left. Sure enough, there's an ornate door there with a beautifully carved brass handle that you are able to turn and open. And waiting for you in a room with mirrors on all sides so that you can easily see yourself sitting upon a chair. You see some leather and mail armor, as well as the other thing that I cannot remember off the top of my head that I put into your inventory already. You see a set of tools, a shield, and the tools being contained already in a bag ready for transportation. And then you see some leather and mail armor, which I have already applied to your character sheet. You're welcome.
Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that.
So you can see you have a leather jacket, a mail shirt, a shield under your weapons, and then you also have trade tools farrier.
Yep, everything's there. Thank
right.
you so much.
So as you are getting dressed up, we will skip back over to the boat. So as the three of you are meandering about on the main deck, you hear more steps coming up, and most of the cargo has finished being loaded. And you hear Joseph shout from the wheel, "Ah, finally! Was beginning to wonder if you were ever going to get up." And a young man climbs up the steps with red hair that is cropped pretty close to his scalp. And he's fairly pale. He's got some freckles on his face. And he looks basically half dead. He has the look of someone who has not slept well in an age. Someone who has constantly been looking over their shoulder, afraid that anyone may find them at any given moment. He looks exhausted, despite his youth. He looks younger than all of you. Can't be more than 15 at the oldest.
Sigmund's gonna let him walk past, and then put a hand on his shoulder. Anton, I presume.
He kind of like blearily, you can tell he just woke up. He sort of looks at you and he goes, "Do I know you? I'm sorry. No. I didn't mean to leave in such a rush last night. I could have sworn I paid my tab, but and he starts kind of like reaching into his pockets. But I'm sure I have enough here to cover me."
"I'm sure you paid your tab just fine. Here, I'm more curious about the tab you left unpaid in Mindenheim."
As you say that, you see all of the color that was not really apparent drain from his face as he becomes somehow even more pale. And his eyes open wide as he kind of slowly looks up at you and he says, "Oh no, no, please!" And he starts to back away. "Please, I didn't mean to. Don't kill me." And you hear Joseph shout, "Hey, what's going on down there?"
"He thinks I'm here to kill him." And Sigmund's still sitting there, hands like just clasped together in his lap.
"Are you?"
"No."
"All right." Anton has fallen onto his butt at this point and is holding his hands before them, but hearing this exchange, he kind of looks more perplexed than anything, and he sort of looks at you and says, "You're not here to kill me?"
"No."
Are you sure you're an associate of Thend?
At this, he actually perks up. He says, "You know, Thind."
Yes,
Is
he went
here?
and got lost, searching somewhere in the city for you.
Oh. He kind of looks down and he says, "I never thought he'd actually follow."
Oh, well, your boss fired him, from what I understand.
He goes,
You're also fired, too.
you hear him go, "Oh," at the first one, and then, "Oh," at the second one. He looks notably crestfallen. "Did he follow me to kill me? I cost him his job. He liked that job."
Dorthan will wave his hand back and forth in a, like,
Somewhere several miles away, Astaroth sneezes. Someone's talking about me.
He was never late, you know. Always on time.
Mm-hmm.
Always covering for me and the other lads.
Mm-hmm.
So you came here with Thind
Yes.
just to find me.
Well, see, I'm part of the Watch of Nuln.
Oh. he looks worried now again. This poor lad is cycling through it right now.
So, I'm just curious.
Where's the money, Lebowski?
I'm just curious. Does he have the firearm on him?
He does not appear to.
Okay. I would like to know what exactly you got out of handing the shipment over to
Do you need a refresher?
Companions of the Man.
There you go. At the mention of the man, he goes, "Shh, you can't say, you can't just say it. I had to. He was gonna kill me if I didn't."
I was all very surprised when we found out you left without doing so.
Well, I handed off most of him, but when I was gonna give over the last little bit of it, his lads were saying that they were gonna be expecting me to help with the next job too, and the one after that. I realized they'd signed me up for a life I didn't want to be a part of. I was gonna get killed sooner or later, so I ran. I took the last few with me. But I didn't make any profit, honest. They said for every shipment I sold, there was a finger I got to keep.
Dorthan will look at his hands.
He appears to have all of his fingers just fine. Though, you know,
10 already.
He sort of looks down. He says, "Well, like I said, I handed most of them off, but I kept a few, though those I sold. I needed to eat. I didn't have any money, and it's such a long and expensive trip from Middenheim to here, and there's mutants, and there's all those rumors about the Manticore about. I didn't have any choice."
Go up to Middenheim and then come back down. Chasing after you.
Well, I've only got one left. I would have kept him, but I don't even know how to fire him.
But you have a job now.
Joseph took me in. Said he could tell I was just a street urchin that had something that was going to get me stabbed in a dark alley.
That does happen often. You know, I didn't believe him when he told us that.
Yeah, he sort of nods and looks at you nervously and he says, Are you going to arrest me?"
Not if you can tell me who press ganged you into helping them.
What you mean the man's lads?
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, but I mean, we're not supposed to. He's got ears everywhere. Even I've heard even down here in Altdorf.
So he's going to kill you twice then.
Oh, I hope not. Being killed once sounds bad enough.
Look, Anton. You seem like a kid that got caught up in a bad spot. But I can't keep letting those guns fall into the same hands in Mindenheim.
He kind of nervously looks around and goes, "So, you won't arrest me if I tell you who I gave him to?"
Yes, I will not arrest you.
Oh my god. Flip through book faster. He nods slowly and is full of trepidation as he starts to form the word. The first word... here we go. He sort of nods and he looks sheepishly and he goes, "You know that sergeant? The one by the gate?"
Oh, glorious mustache.
Yeah, him!
Hoffman.
He was the one that took him. He took him from the men that were supposed to bring him in, then handed him off to me and made me take him down into the slums. I didn't even want to go down there. They say you get sick if you breathe there too long.
Oh, that
Actually,
was a vampire.
turned out to be a vampire.
A what?
A vampire.
Pointy teeth.
Vampires are real?
Well, this one definitely didn't seem
killed
like
it.
one of the stories.
That doesn't.
That
I'm
one
never
was.
going back. It was bad enough already.
You were going to go back.
Well, maybe one day after I change my name.
I think it's probably best you just stay floating on this river.
He just kind of sighs and nods and goes, "Well, all right. Can I give you the last gun then, so you could maybe take it back? I was gonna take it to Nolan to show him that I didn't. That way they'd at least get one of them back."
Look, showing up with stolen property is usually not the best plan.
I mean, they might make him an engineer.
Well, I was gonna do it to show them that I'd actually had them, but I got forced to give them away.
They're stamped so they know where they come from. You showing up here with one of those that was stamped to be in Mindenheim's hand would just be proof that they were stolen. And you would be the one they called thief.
Oh, right. Well, I'll give it to you then?
I can take it, yes.
All right. He gets up and kind of goes, right then. And he marches downstairs and comes back up a minute or two later. And you hear Yosha shout at him, "Oi, lad! Don't fire that thing on my ship! I don't want any more holes!" And he sheepishly walks up to you holding just a exquisitely it's not like, something that, it's not necessarily like the best crafted handgun in the universe, but there's a simplicity to it but it's beautiful in its simplicity. You could tell that it has maybe been fired a handful of times. It's still like sleek and clean from the state of it.
Test fire it.
From the state of it, you would guess that he's probably had it wrapped up this entire time. It doesn't even look like it's been exposed to the weather or anything. He kind of sheepishly looks and says, "The man that I actually gave it to, though, the one that I had to give it to down in the slums. His name was Helmet."
Helmet.
He had a nasty scar on his right cheek. He had a beard.
What color hair?
Black. Big fella.
Interesting individual we saw after we got out of the
Did he look like some kind of weasel man?
I
Dorothandel asked, remembering the sneaky-looking individual next to the guard captain that was watching the group.
he says, I've never seen a weasel that's a man. Especially not in Midnight.
No, there are some humans with shocking resemblances.
I don't think so. He was pretty stocky. He looked like he could rip you in half, or at least me.
Ah, definitely not the same men I was thinking of then.
Yeah, I don't have notes on the specific guy that there was a specific guy that was talking to Sergeant Hoffman after we got out of the.
This is not that guy. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
That man, the way this guy is described, which you can ask a little more details.
Mhm.
He describes this Helmet character as kind of like a usual Mindenheimer. So like he didn't appear especially exotic, other than the features of he was quite athletic, and he has like an X type scar on his right cheek, which does not sound like anyone you've seen.
Okay.
All right. With that, he kind of goes, well, I think I'm going to go.
In my head, because obviously I can't read.
Wait, say what?
He can't read, so this is all in his memory.
And now I have a blunderbuss and a.
I mean, you could write notes for yourself.
Yeah, I have the notes written down, but I'm gonna have to have like Dorothandel write an actual letter for me.
Oh, okay, I get you. He kind of looks at you and he goes, "Oi, Lenny, you with this lot?"
Yeah. Are you done talking, sir? I've been trying to keep out of the conversation as much as possible.
He looks quizzitively at Sigmund.
So you really weren't here to kill him?
No, I told you the truth.
No, this whole time.
You thought they were going to kill me?
Yeah, same. Honestly, I was a little bit worried for you, but good to see you're okay. Is everything
didn't do
solved?
anything? You just stood there.
Well, I figured you can handle yourself. Honestly,
No, I can't. That's why I ran.
well, I never dug into your. Look, I don't ask very many questions. Besides, we only. Look, I understand. I'm here to help the crew, but it's scary business. Besides, it all worked out.
This is why Gills is always complaining about you. You never listen. You just pretend to.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, I think I might be sticking with this lot for a little while. I look at Sigmund and Dorothy.
So just kind of shrugs, like, yeah.
Yeah.
He looks.
So if that makes you feel any better.
He looks between the three of you and he says, "Wait, are they coming with us?"
Oh yes, yes.
We're gonna enjoy this voyage down the river together.
Yeah. Why is that a problem? Everything seems like it worked out fine.
He kind of like looks from Dorothandrel, who he's kind of just now noticed, and then back at Sigmund, and then back at Lenny, and he turns and looks at Joseph, and he goes, "Oi, Joseph!" And Joseph goes, "What's up, laddie?" He says, "I think I'm gonna leave." And Joseph just sort of like,
it's done for you. Dorothandrel says, gutting one of the fish he's caught and throwing it over, humming a tune to Mothlan.
Joseph just leans on the wheel and takes another long swig of a different bottle this time. The first one seems to have mysteriously vanished, likely empty. And he kind of smirks and says, "That's fine, lad. Let's mouths to feed. You taking that gun with you?" And he says, "No, I gave it to them." He says, "Good. You won't get robbed then. Take care of yourself, lad."
Before he takes off, I'm gonna pull out 3 silver and hand it to Anton.
He actually. Ooh, roll me a average charm check. Or bribery, one of the two. Actually, no, do charm. Do charm.
Charm is at average. Not sick anymore.
Do you want to keep it?
Oof. I'll reroll that. I'm gonna roll.
Wow,
Hey.
5 successes. Okay. He, you know that look children and dogs get when they have a heart of gold and they've done something, and you don't know that they've done something, but like the second you start talking to them, you're like, "Oh, what'd you do?" Like he gets that guilty look on his face, and he says, "I can't take your silver. I already made a lot of money off the guns.
Right.
I already
immediately toss the silver back in his pocket.
Yeah, he just kind of he sort of looks around and he goes, "I know it wasn't right, but I couldn't carry more than one without looking all suspicious like, so I pawned the rest of them off."
How many?
Okay.
He goes, "Oh, probably about 6 or so."
Dorothandrel's going to look at the very fancy gun, and then look over at Yosef, and kind of lean towards Anton.
You're damn lucky you didn't get robbed.
Did you pay Yosef's tab?
No, he took me on because he said I looked like I was going. He said I looked like I was just gonna walk straight into someone holding out a knife for me. He felt bad for me.
Alright, what you're going to do, young Anton, if you have any honor in you, is you'll go over to the Boatman's Inn, and he's going to look at him. The over 30 gold crowns you have, you're going to pay Yosef's bar tab for his generosity in hiding you.
He looks a little aghast. He says, "I don't have 30. I only have 10.
Dorothandrel's going to look aghast. You were robbed. And then he's just going to turn away.
he just kind of looks like, "No, I wasn't."
You were.
Fine, I'll pay his tab. And he looks at, he says, "Do you know where I could find Thind? I'm gonna go look for him."
I'll give him the inn that we were staying at.
The Lion's Paw.
Yes.
All right, I'll see if I can go find him. Ulrich, be with you. Thanks for not killing me. And let me know Thin's here. I think I could find him. Shouldn't be too hard. Seems to grossly underestimate how many people live in Altdorf.
Well, I look
hundreds of thousands of people.
To when you end up running into Lenny as you look for Thend.
Lenny's right here.
How could I find Lenny when I'm looking for Thin? He's a dwarf? They're not even the same species?
Dorothy was just going to point to Sigmund. Ask him.
Are you a dwarf?
To be fair, we were looking for Then when we found Lenny.
Right, well, maybe if I... No.
Look for Lenny, you'll find Then?
No, that's a terrible idea.
I'm right here.
No one in their right mind would look for Lenny.
I think it's best. You should go. You should go. Honestly.
Tell Walmart and Gilda I said bye.
Okay, will do.
And with that, Anton, very relieved to be done with his whole charade, departs the Berebelli and goes searching for his friend. A quest in a different universe, I'm sure. All right. It's about that time that a man comes up from underneath the deck. He's got kind of disheveled hair, bit of a got like his beard's pretty disorganized, but you could, and he's much darker skinned than the rest of you. He's got you can't quite pinpoint if he is maybe like if his ancestry is just from more of the southern part of the empire or maybe somewhere further afield. But he comes up and he looks around at everyone, like his eyes kind of glaze over, like just pass over Lenny real quick, but he looks at the other two, especially you, Dorthantro, and he says, "What's all this? Who are you? Why are you on our boat?"
I recognize them.
Yeah, it's Wolmar. He is Anton was the newest recruit. You'd been here for a good while. Wolmar and Gilda have been here as longer than you've been. They've been here a long time. The big thing you know about them, they're together. They're a couple. They're married. They have a daughter, Elsa. They both kind of have that more dusky complexion, and are probably from somewhere like Averland, maybe on the other side of the Black Mountains, from the Border Princes. But they used to have their own ship before it was it sunk. They ran into something and punched, and some very unfortunate, the holes got punched in it, but they were actually saved by Yosef. He just happened to be extremely close by and actually not only saved them but took them on his crew so that them and their daughter could have a home, and they've been with him ever since.
Well, Walmar, Anton quit, but he did say bye, and for a bit of a replacement crew, I brought these guys. Point to Sigmund and Dorthangel.
Bye, Sigmar. Good riddance. Nice enough lad. Didn't know a damn shit about a boat.
Hey, he was good company at least. Has Anton even left yet? Is he gone?
Yeah, he's gone.
Okay.
It does not take long to vanish on the docks of Altdorf, especially now that it's around like 9, probably like 8:30, 9 a.m.
Okay. Well, it feels wrong speaking ill of him. He was just here a moment ago.
I'm not speaking ill. I'm just speaking honest. I'm gonna go get some pies.
Okay. I'll catch you later. I'll let Gilda know, and I'll head down.
He starts tramping down the what do you call it? The thingamajigger that connects the boat to the dock.
Gangplank.
Thank you. He stomps down that, and you see him beelining for where you can already see gatherings of halflings and other various hawkers that are stretching into the city. And you hear, pies, get your pies here, best pies you'll find this side of Altdorf. Do any of the three of you want to do anything in particular?
Nope. I'm cleaning the boat.
All right.
If it's been an hour, I'm going to take the fish I've caught up to Yosef.
Yeah, you don't need to roll for that, correct?
Yeah, I just get 3 full food worth of days for a person.
All right, cool.
And ask him, is there a place or a cook for these I should be giving to?
Give him to Gilda. She cooks for us most nights. Though I'll warn you, she's got a mouth, that one.
Don't you all?
Oh, by all means, Elf, be my guest.
And about my kit. You were slightly drunk when you promised.
He kind of narrows his eyes at you a little bit. He goes, I'm always slightly drunk.
Well, this was more than slightly, but less than drunk.
Yeah, what do you need? Wait, did I hire you?
Yes.
Oh.
You went at length about teaching me proper sailing on a river.
Did I now? That sounds like something past me would say. He kind of just like leaves it in the air. He takes another swig from his wine.
Is it something present you as honoring?
Yes! I always honor past me's bargains, even if they're stupid. Though I think this one's pretty good, having an elf on board. Some think it's bad luck, but I reckon you'll do a good job.
Well, I do have some knowledge, though it's for vessels more sleek than this.
Well, we should be shipping off tomorrow, so I've got some time to show you around the boat.
Excellent.
Here! We need this if we're going to be doing that. And he pulls out a different bottle and hands it to you. Very important for understanding the Berebelli.
Northunder will pop the cork and sniff it to gauge if this is truly worthwhile.
Do you have evaluate by chance? Or perception? You can roll perception if you don't have evaluate. Just do easy.
I do have evaluate.
Do an easy evaluate.
Oh.
I'm going to use my only fortune point for this.
Wow, okay.
I look forward to the double 100.
Hey, there you go.
You suspect that Joseph is a man who probably transports a lot of wine and drinks a lot of wine because he seems to have a pretty decent caliber of taste. This is not tavern swill. This is a man who probably drinks a little bit too much from his own stock, but where exactly his personal stock begins and his cargo and ends, and the cargo begins and ends, is a very blurry line as far as you're concerned. But yeah, this is some pretty decent stuff.
Northunder will give him a nod and take a sip of it to see if it truly is as good as it smells.
Yes.
You do have a fine eye for wines, it does seem.
Well, I wouldn't be able to pay anybody because I wouldn't make any goddamn money if I didn't know.
So, is it true you use tar and pitch and straw to keep the boat from sinking?
All right, let's go below deck. And he starts to explain to you the intricacies of how the Berebelli floats as you make your way down.
Northunder will make comments about this floating of this dead wood construction.
Lenny, as you are Asheroth by this point, unless there is there anything in particular you wanted to do in the chapter house before they shipped you out?
Yeah, I was curious to see if I could. I don't know if they have like a shop in there or an armory or something. I know I have a sword. I was curious to see if I could maybe procure a better one.
I forgot to mention, in addition to the oh god, where did I put it? In addition to the stuff that was put in your inventory, there was also a bag that was left for you. It's a very, very fancy looking coin purse that it even has a little heraldic symbol of the Knights Panther with like the blue and white colors on it. And within it, you find 20 gold crowns.
Okay, and that was for the horse,
presumably.
I assume.
I mean, it's up to you whether it is or not.
Yeah. Okay.
That being
yeah,
said, there is a type of armory where there are all sorts of various weapons that are basically kind of have you ever seen like weapon stands where you have these rows of metal and wooden stands that have like numerous swords carefully placed into them. Some of them have halberds, some of them have spears. There's like a whole thing of lances. You see quite a few maces, morning stars, just almost axes, cavalry hammers. Pretty much any weapon you can imagine has a place. Many of the slots are empty, but there are just it is a cornucopia of weapons.
Okay, so I will approach whoever's in charge. Do I see somebody working in the area or behind a counter?
There is a man who looks incredibly rough and tumble, and like there seems to be permanent soot stuck to his bulging muscles, and he's dressed far more simply than anyone else. You can't even tell if he's a knight or not. Like, is he a servant here? Is he a knight? But he seems to he has it's not really like a counter, but you could kind of think of it as a counter off to the side. Like, it's not really meant for someone to come up and barter with him. It's more that's where he keeps all of his personal belongings, where there's like a lot of various boxes that have various little tags attached to them. And he seems to keep some sort of inventory here.
Well, I'll approach him and say, "Good morning, sir. I'm so sorry to bother you. I'm in a daze right now. I literally just got indoctrinated as a scribe." And I'll pull out my sword, unsheath it, and I'll put it on the counter. And
Did you
it's
say
just a regular
scribe or squire?
He said
squire. Sorry,
Okay.
I said squire. I said scribe. I meant squire. Sorry.
No, that's what you actually say. He kind of pauses, and he looks up at you through like this big black bushy beard, and you just hear a grumble. I can tell.
Yes. I'm sorry. The nerves have still not left my bones. But this is my sword that I've been using, and I have 40 silver to spend. Do you have anything of slightly higher quality? I'm not looking for anything special, but you have a sword for roughly around 40 silver, or anywhere in that ballpark that is better than what you see in front of you. You
hear someone's a little green behind the ears.
Yes, absolutely.
He looks down at your blade and he goes, "What is that?"
That is just a sword from my hometown.
That is not
sir.
A sword. That is a piece. That is a piece of rough metal that has been crudely shaped so that it might have a chance of stabbing something. Perhaps.
So it is.
He sort of picks it up and he very unceremoniously chucks it behind him with a little bit of a of a practiced heft where it just slams point down into a barrel that has a number of other weapons that have cracks, breaks, and other various issues with them. And he looks at you straight in the eye and he goes, "You use a sword?"
I do.
"No. Do you use a sword? Or do you use an axe? A mace? A scimitar? A lance? Do you use a sword?"
I use a sword. I look him dead in the eye.
He nods and he kind of looks you up and down. He says, "Hold out your arm."
Held out my arms. Palms up.
He slaps quite roughly down your left and he goes, "I said arm, not arms. Are you deaf as well as dumb?"
No, sir. And I hold out my right arm.
"Is this your sword arm?"
Yes, sir.
He looks at you for a moment, and yeah, you kind of hear him muttering to himself, and he walks over to the rack where there's just swords. There's so many swords. And he picks up one, and although fairly standard looking by comparison to the others, compared to your prior blade, this thing is immaculate. Not only is it polished to a sheen, but the hilt is actually made out of like different materials, where it is steel, but like the actual portion, the pommel that you hold on to, has been wrapped in very carefully cured leather to protect the hands, and there's like little filigree of silver around the hilt of the blade and on the little ball at the base of the pommel. And he kind of looks at it and sort of nods to himself, and he grabs the point of it with his other hand and he holds out the pommel to you and he goes, "Try this."
I take it and I examine it up and down. I move it from left to right, up and down. I step back and take a couple of swings. And what is my impression of the sword?
It feels, compared to your last one, it is bizarrely well balanced. Like it feels less like a tool that you pick up, like something like if you're going to go out and do yard work, or like picking up like a baseball bat or something to play a sport. It almost feels like you've picked up. It's so able to glide through the air kind of so effortlessly. It feels more like an extension of your arm than something you're holding.
How much?
He looks at you and he just sighs and he shakes his head and he says, "You've never been to the chapter house before, have you?"
This is my second time, sir. The first time, I was almost murdered.
"Ah, you're the one that almost made Harbingen pop."
Yes, that is me, good sir.
He is a dick. Well, let me explain to you how this works. You are a squire. You are a representative of the Knights Panther, one of the greatest knightly orders of the Empire, which means you are a figure, an icon, a representative of our order. As such, when people see you, even though you are but a mere squire, they see a Knights Panther. You cannot walk around wielding that, and he points back at the barrel. You have a status to uphold. If you embarrass yourself, you embarrass us. So it does not cost anything, because that is not how the Knights Panther operates.
I'm just, and Astaroth is flabbergasted, because he hasn't seen much. I don't want to call this kindness, but just being given something without a monetary value is unusual to him. And I start stammering with my words, like, "Are you sure, sir?" And I start fumbling with my coin pouch, like, "At least I could give you something."
He growls and he pokes you in the chest. And what's impressive is that his strength is such, despite the fact you are wearing a mail shirt over a leather jack, it hurts when he pokes you in the chest with a single finger. And he says, "It is not a gift. It is a responsibility. You earn that sword."
Aye. Yes, my lord. I apologize. Yes, my lord. Thank you.
He nods once, and he says, "Will that be all?"
That'll be all. Thank you. And I nervously make my way out. Is the sword any different in stats-wise from what I currently have equipped?
So you are going to count it as a best quality sword.
Okay.
What that functionally is going to do for you is that the sword is going to be worth more, first of all. Second of all, if I recall correctly, is going to be just a teeny tiny bit lighter. Because it is more balanced. Especially because
so my current encumbrance with the basic sword was 1.
Yeah, let me double check one little thing real quick. Swords are kind of the interesting option because they don't come with a yes. So you're gonna go ahead and count it as, here we go. Let's see here. It's going to have the fine quality. And it's going to have the lightweight quality. So it counts as 1 encumbrance less. And fine literally just means it's worth more money, and it looks like it's worth more money.
So its encumbrance would be 0.
While you are wearing it, yes.
Okay.
If you are not wearing it, then its encumbrance is 1.
Okay. No, I have a hilt and everything, so it'll be at my side.
Cool. All right. There, as you are leaving, there is a servant waiting for you, an older man, who says, Master Rosenstein.
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
There is a carriage waiting you out front to take you to where you wish to go.
Oh! Again, I'm flabbergasted because I've never had such such amenities given to me before. Okay. Is it the one right there, down at the bottom of the steps?
he sort of looks at you and he goes, "Yes, sir."
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You see, it is a very stately carriage that has the heraldic devices of the Knight's Panzer emblazoned on the side of it. This thing is not subtle in the slightest.
Real quick, my current equipment that I was given, the leather jacket and the mail shirt, does any of that have any colors on the Nice Panther, like that purple, blue, or yellow, or
not
no?
colors, but they are stamped with your heraldic device.
Okay. Is it okay if I run 2 quick errands while I am out?
Yes, but we have to come back to you.
Okay, that's fine.
All right. So back on the boat, Lenny.
Yeah.
You see Walmar working his way back up the boat, and he's got 3 pies, steaming meat pies stacked up. You hear him go, "Breakfast is here!"
Oh. That means, wait, typically that does mean us, right?
Yes, that would include you.
That means us! I look at Dorothandrel and Sigmund.
Dorothandrel is below deck.
Dorothandrel! Come up!
He is enjoying some wine with your captain. But Sigmund's up there with you.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, Sigmund, you and me first then. Come on, let's sit. Get comfortable.
Yeah.
Walmart sits and he puts one meat pie before the two of you, and then he puts a second one. Says, "This is for the captain and the elf." And he picks up the last one. And he goes, "Did you hear about what's going on the deck, on the dock?"
Oh, I have not. Haven't left the boat since this morning.
He kind of takes a knife and cuts out just a small piece of his own and takes a bite and sort of nods to himself with a noise and says, "Oh, a whole bunch of commotion. They say a noble was killed last night."
Oh. Wouldn't know a thing about it. Nope.
He nods and and he kind of looks at you in particular, and he says, "Yeah, say an elf was with him."
How very strange. Was anyone else there?
And a foreigner with tattoos. And two other men.
How interesting.
Good to know.
Say the watch are looking for him to hang him this morning.
Oh, that's a problem for them.
He sort of raises an eyebrow and he goes, "Well, good thing you're just an elf, a foreigner with a tattoo, and one man."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely don't have anyone else with us that's getting inducted into the Knights Panther right now or anything like that crazy.
He takes another bite and he goes, "Joseph, we need to leave." And he starts heading down into the depths.
I'll look towards Sigmund. What about we're still missing one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go remind him of that. And Sigmund's gonna follow Walmart down below deck.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll tag along too.
All right, so Walmart goes down. Dorthandrel, roll me a challenging consume alcohol test to represent the number of swigs you are into this bottle and potentially even the next bottle. All right, you're a little tipsy. You've consumed a fair number of drinks and have been having a delightful conversation with Joseph. He was in the midst of telling you a story about the time that he saw mermaids on the River Bogen. He swears by his father's soul and his mother's grave, more rest her. He doesn't mention more rest his father. That they were coming around a bend and there was a rock outcropping in the center, and there were three beautiful women with the top halves of humans and the lower halves of fish, and that he had a miraculous conversation with them and shared some of his wine. But when he woke up the next day, they had stolen his purse, and he never found anyone that believed him, but he swears it's true.
A truly unfortunate series of events. I personally would never condone consorting with anything that would look half like a human and half like a fish.
He sort of blearily looks. He goes, "Even if they had really big tits."
Dorthandrel looks at Joseph with the look of someone who's like, "You've just made them uglier." Of course.
I'll never get you, elves. He's a little fairly... Actually, you know what? I'm going to roll for him. Let's see. Where did I put him? There he is. Consume alcohol. He's pretty good at it, but he's also drinking a lot. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, he's on his third bottle of the day, and he's feeling it, Mr. Krabs. And he hears the rest of y'all coming down, especially because Walmart keeps going, "Joseph! Joseph!" And Joseph goes, "What? What? Why are we shouting?" And Walmart goes, "We need to leave. Now."
We will leave once Astaroth gets back.
He kind of turns and looks back and goes, "Why do we have to leave now?"
You remember last night?
Somewhat.
Do you remember the bodies we passed by?
No, it wasn't those bodies, and he's just going to reach over and pick up the mug that he took that's dented.
Okay.
Apparently people have been talking about how they seen us around that scene we passed by.
Warmar goes, "They think y'all killed a noble."
Around some nobles that got probably murdered last night.
Yosef kind of like, his eyes sort of like slowly close and open again. He goes, "Oh, those two shits. I wish we had killed them, but we didn't." Walmart goes, "Nobody's going to care what you have to say. That's why we have to leave." Yosef goes, how could they possibly know it was us? I mean, there's so many people in Altdorf.
I think we may stand out a little bit.
Yeah,
Much as I hate to admit.
Gesture to his new drinking partner.
He
I
looks,
didn't do anything to those nobles.
Yosef looks at you, Dorthangel, and he goes, "Oh, shit. We need to leave." And he goes, "All right, Lenny, get to work.
All right.
The sails."
I
Are
get
we
to
setting
work.
sail?
Yeah, Elf, go do elf things. Help.
Have someone to wait for.
Well, you better go tell him to hurry up, because the watch ain't gonna wait.
All right. We can get the least conspicuous of us to go and find them. I look at Sigmund. You and me then.
They are specifically looking for a foreigner with tattoos.
Oh, they don't stand out that much.
Honestly, among the throngs of Altdorfers, he really doesn't.
Tattoos don't. No.
Yeah. So yeah, the tattoos don't stand out.
Well,
Come on.
this is happening, and I have some errands to run.
Yosef goes,
Yeah, I mean,
Yosef goes, Elf, boy, you'll do Lenny's job.
Right, so that's mopping the deck.
Well,
Setting sail. I do more than just mopping.
Make sure
As I
everything's
start heading up.
secure. Start tying knots. I'm gonna go stand by the wheel. And he opens another bottle.
I'm
All right.
already up the stairs.
Sigmund and Lenny, what are y'all gonna do?
All right. So he should be by that big, massive building down there.
I know where he's most likely at.
Well, then let's start heading by and being as inconspicuous as possible.
So there is a small problem. Y'all are here. He's more like down here.
Yeah.
I will go ahead and grab
There
the cloak.
There are plenty of carriages around the docks that are constantly trying to get people to board them.
Let's see here. Do you have coin? I look at Sigmund. Hello?
Yeah, I've got coin. Sorry, internet died there for a second.
Yeah, it's understandable. We don't want to leave this poor lad in the city. I can understand that you are quite stunned. But yeah, maybe we take a coach, head down, hide our faces, perhaps.
I don't think we need to hide our faces. Maybe you do, but I think hiding your face will make you stand out more.
Will it? Okay.
Eh.
Sure.
Eh.
I mean, I don't know about how the Altdorf guard is, but if I saw someone walking around specifically hiding their face, I would have tried to stop them.
Okay, if you say so. Look, honestly, I'm not super keen on being in big cities, so I don't know how it all works. Do you know how to call a coach?
Yeah, and he'll just like raise a hand, catch one of their eyes, and
Hey,
then
taxi.
walk over. Yeah, basically.
Yeah, you're. Where are you looking to go?
Knights Panther Chapter House.
Ugh. Gonna be busy getting over there today. Here, there might be riots over by the palace.
It's fine. We can handle riots. Can you handle riots?
I could drive around them.
Just as quick as you can, please.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what we need. I'll hop in. How much?
This time of day, we're gonna have to take a side route or two.
Here. I'll toss him 1 silver.
As you wish, my lord. And he cracks the reins and you're off. Astaroth, where would you like to go?
I approach the carriage and I say, "Good sir, I apologize, but I am in a hurry. I need you to take me to the docks, as a ship is waiting on me. However, along the way, I would like you to stop at the finest tanner that you know of, and the finest tailor that you know of."
He nods and says, "Very good, sir."
We'll be on our way then, and I get into the carriage.
All right, you hop up into the carriage, and he starts plodding along, making his way towards a different part of the city to take you to the appropriate place. And this is where I really wish I had Altdorf memorized, but I don't. So we're gonna have to use our imaginations.
Just to clarify, I meant on the way, like whatever route is quickest to the docks.
Yeah, he knows what you
If
meant. He
they're-
knows what you meant.
Okay, cool. I didn't want him to go up to like the Merstyle area.
Seeing if I can bullshit my way through this book to find an appropriate place really quick. Warehouse. No, that's not what I want. That's not what I want. I'm gonna give it like another 5 pages of trying. Wait, what is this one? Nope. I should have probably started from the other side of this stupid book. Oh god, a bookshop. I don't need a bookshop. University, Alchemist Guild, various colleges, even though they're wrong. Printing press, House of Mercy. Remind me what you were looking for? A tanner and a clother?
Tanner and a tailor. Yes.
Tanner and a tailor. All right, so he takes you first to, we'll just say a place. I'll fill this in later. He does. You do eventually arrive outside of a tanner. You can see all sorts of different leathers hanging out the front windows, but inside you can already see all sorts of different like leather pauldrons and leggings and various pieces hanging very nice and neatly from all sorts of different racks inside. And it doesn't appear to be busy at all. It seems quite empty, at least at this time. You do hear a surprising amount of noise coming from closer to the Palace District. You're heading more towards the cathedral, sort of making your way around the Grand Cathedral. So you're moving away from the noise, but it is noticeable.
I'll approach whoever is behind the counter, and I'll lay out my coin pouch and say, quickly, I apologize. 30 arrows and a new quiver. How much?
Roush's tailor shop. Found it. Granted, that's a tailor, not a tanner, but nonetheless, that's where you'll go for the tailor. Okay, I at least found one of them. I feel better about myself. All right, so he looks. There's an elderly man there. His skin is almost as wrinkled looking as the leathers he's selling, and he looks up at you through some half moon spectacles that he has, and kind of blinks a little because he was in the midst of. He has like a little chisel-looking device in one hand, and he's using it to punch little pieces of metal through some two leather scraps that he seems to be binding together. And he says, "I'm terribly sorry. How can I help you?"
30 arrows and a new quiver.
At the tanner? Okay. He
Is
nods.
that where arrows are made?
It's more of a Fletcher.
Yeah.
A Fletcher. Ah, shit, I apologize.
It's okay. We're gonna wave a magical hand, and you're at a Fletcher instead.
Yes.
But it's a woman, and she's quite lithe, and she sort of nods and she goes, "All right, we will take care of the specifics of the prices afterwards, but you can go ahead and acquire yourself a quiver and 30 arrows.
Encumbrance?
Don't worry about it right now.
Okay.
It's not going to be enough to matter.
Okay.
All right, and then you are shipped off to Roush's tailor shop.
Okay.
Where
So I just
as you enter, you see this place is extravagant. Because you did tell him to take you to the best. There are like all sorts of different costumes and ball gowns and very rich, wealthy clothing. And as you walk in, there's a young man who just drips of what's the best way to say this? It just drips with like a foppish, snobby air, and he kind of looks down his nose at you and he goes, "Are you lost?"
No, sir, I'm not lost. I was actually hoping you could help me with a purchase.
He looks you up and down and he says, "Oh dear. Perhaps. And you are?"
Astaroth von Hurlstein, Squire of the Knights Panther, at your service.
"A squire. And he sort of looks at your armor and does see that you do in fact have it, but nonetheless looks not pleased by your appearance. And he goes, "Very well. I am Ram Roush. How can I assist you?"
Good morning, Ram. I just require 2 simple sashes, red and gold, from my right shoulder down my abdomen to my left flank. Not too thick. That is all.
2 sashes, one of red, one of gold. Very well. Don't... as you kind of make to follow him, he goes, "Don't just stay there. I don't want your boots trekking in all of that."
As you wish.
"I'll be but a moment." And he heads back into the shop. Meanwhile, Sigmund and Lenny, you arrive at the chapter house. You made excellent time.
Okay. Now, you've been in here before, right?
Yes. Once. Yesterday.
Okay. You take the lead. I'll back you up.
Okay. And Sigmund will walk up confidently and then get to the door and just like, and gingerly open it and make his way inside.
Lenny's right behind you.
As you do, you walk in and you get a couple of glances. Lenny, you're wearing your cloak, so you're covering yourself.
Nope. Sigmund told me not to.
Great. That is excellent. So as you walk in, the initial reactions to just Sigmund are fine. Like everyone's like, yeah, whatever. When Lenny walks in, the conversation stops. And everyone stares over at Lenny, and an older one of the knights just flat out reaches for his sword and half draws it.
I'll do like a little curtsy. Hello, friend of Astaroth.
And oh man, you hear one man go, "What is that filth doing in here? Get out!"
All right, Sigma, I told you.
Yeah, maybe go.
We should have looked better coming in.
Going outside.
I'll take one step out. Well, you're good at talking.
As you're leaving, Lenny, and moving out the door, you see two younger men, presumably squires or maybe recently initiated knights, kind of looking at each other. And one of them goes, "Did he say he's friends with Astaroth, the new squire?"
Yes, I did. And I'm still stepping out.
Yes.
So after a moment, a servant approaches you, Sigmund. He says, "Yes, may I help you?"
I was looking to find my friend Astaroth von Holstein. We were expecting to leave tomorrow on a boat heading down the river. Timetables got pushed up. We're leaving today, so I came to.
I'm afraid you just missed him.
Oh, so he's already heading back.
He left by carriage about half bell ago.
Must have missed him coming across. Thank you, and I will make sure that Lenny isn't getting murdered outside.
He is not, though you could see that the one knight who had half drew his sword had actually started to follow Lenny before another two knights had kind of like put their hands on his shoulders and are like, relax.
Is this Harbingen, who I saw almost murder Astaroth
No, this
yesterday?
is a completely different guy.
Okay. I will step back outside. Did our carriage stick around, or do we have to hail a new one?
No, he's still there.
Okay.
All right. How'd it go?
He's already on his way back, so carriage driver, take us back, please. And we will toss him with silver for your troubles.
Excellent, my lord. And he cracks the whip and he's off. Meanwhile, back at the clothing store, Ram comes sauntering back out, and he holds an immaculate, beautiful, stunning piece of fabric, a sash that he has wrapped around between his arms because its length is rather considerable. But he looks and he says, "Will this suffice?"
Appearance-wise, yes. How much are you requesting for a price?
Oh, this will merely cost 1 Carl.
Is that a gold or silver?
That's a gold.
Done.
He looks pleasantly surprised, and he nods and says, "Oh, very good, sir. Very good, Sir Astaroth."
Thank you so much for your hospitality and your service.
You could tell there was a moment where he had to kind of reach to remember who you were. He doesn't give you the sash. He actually pulls out a box that has some paper in it, and he very delicately lays the sash down within it and carefully closes it up and ties a small vibrant blue thread and then a vibrant white thread around it into some very nice knots to secure the box. And that is what he hands over to you in exchange for a gold crown.
And I do a slight hip bow and nod my head and say, thank you. Again, I really appreciate your hospitality.
I do look forward to your service, to servicing you again in the future, good sir.
Absolutely. I will seek no other. And I'll take my
As you're
leave.
leaving, he kind of goes, are you sure we could not interest you perhaps in a new pair of boots? Or a fresh shirt, perhaps?
I really wish, but right now I have a ship to catch. But upon my return, you can guarantee that I'll be back here.
Very good, sir. Very good. All right, you gonna head back?
No. Yeah, I'll approach the carriage and say, to the docks as quickly as you can.
Put away, sir. Whips crack. Horses neigh, and they're off. Dorathandrel, you are a little drunk, as is the boat captain. The only one who is sober that is actively helping get the ship ready to set off is freaking Brain.
Walmar.
I need you to roll me a what's it called? Sail check.
All right.
It
Is
would
it average?
because y'all
easy?
are trying to get the ship prepared in haste when it was not supposed to go at all today. It's going to be challenging before your drunkenness penalty. So it'll be at a -10 functionally. If it was not, oh, look at you! So despite the fact that you have never been on the Berebelli before, as far as working on it, you've never sailed this type of vessel before. This large barge with this big old sail that's purely meant for the rivers. The tour that you were able to take with Joseph earlier gave you the knowledge needed, and you are so elated to be back into your element. It's like it's like riding a bike again or settling into a familiar dance. And you are able to make excellent work of securing the boat and preparing for sail, even helping Wolmar with his tasks. And he's frankly impressed, kind of looking at you and saying, "You know your way around a vessel."
I do have to say, it was interesting to watch Lenny mop the deck. I had ample time this morning to get an idea of how the lines are rigged.
Good to hear. Good to hear. Excellent. Well, let's finish up then. We're almost done. And as you continue working and getting everything ready, and the lines are being pulled in, and the ropes that are tethering you to the dock are being properly unwound, you hear Joseph shout, "Get ready to set off!" And he kind of looks and he goes, Gilda, bring me some more wine. And you hear from down below, "Oh, fuck off, Joseph." You hear him go, fucking Gilda. As all that prep is settling in, a carriage pulls up. It's a very nice carriage. It's quite stately, in fact, with all sorts of various beastly heraldic devices and iconography emblazoned across it, most having a cat-like appearance. And it's got a shield that's got fields of blue and white on the background. And out from it, in very, very fancy new armor, comes none other than Astaroth. He looks
Confidently,
he looks
with a
he looks much cleaner than you remember.
with a full, like a playful swagger, obviously not taking myself too seriously. I strut up. Say, "Where is Sigmund?"
I thought they were with you, picking you up.
No, I left the chapter house after my initiation a while ago. I ran some errands, made sure I had all the equipment I might need, and took my leave.
Yeah, you left.
Did they leave to find me?
You left about a bell ago or an hour.
It's been about a bell. Did they leave to find me?
Yes, we're leaving now-ish.
What do you mean now?
Dorathander will finish tying a knot, go over and put an arm around Astroth, getting him off the gangplank, and waving to the Knights Panther wagon coach.
It sets
As it
off.
goes
Also,
away.
Dorathandrel stinks of wine.
Good God! They're not here. Should we go out and find them?
Then they'll arrive, and they'll ask me, Dorathandrel, where is Astaroth, Sir Knight of the Panther Squire? And I'll say, he just went off to get you. Come back in another bell with him, please. Which will be happy to know that we didn't kill any nobles.
I nervously
Unhappy to
chuckle.
know that the watch think we did.
Is that why we're leaving?
That second comment, especially in light of all the responsibility talk you just got, is not as funny.
Is that why we're leaving now? Does the watch think we killed a noble?
Well, if Wolmar, and he will gesture over to where Wolmar is working, heard rightly, they have some gallows set up for us. For when they find us.
We didn't kill no noble. I mean, he might have gotten punched in the face, but
I mean, Sigmund does have the murder weapon.
You hear Walmart go, "You punched a noble."
I'll turn and say, "Quiet, you."
Well, no wonder they're trying to hang you.
I am decently civilized. Northander will defend himself.
I know you are, but if we're if we're leaving now, our companions are out in the city. What are we going to do?
As you
They'll
say that,
probably arrive at the chapter house, find you're not here, and come back.
as you're saying that, another carriage, much shoddier, a very basic, put together piece that's functional, pulled by two horses that they're not overly skinny, but they definitely are not like finely groomed every day, pulls up, and out of it tumbles two significantly less regal figures.
Hello.
They're here. Wonderful, we can finally set sail.
Why, Sigma?
Like,
Hurry up and
let's
get
all
on.
Just go below deck.
All aboard! Shouts Yosef, seeing you.
Clamber on.
Lenny! Get off
Yeah.
the plank!
Yep. I'll get Sigmund up, bring the plank in.
Alright, and then
As soon
says,
as
Dorthandro, the sail!
Aye, skipper.
Alright, both Lenny and Dorthandro for the final preparations, roll me an average sail check. Since Dorthandro did a very good job setting y'all up.
Nice. Let's see here. Where is my sail? Under wolf ship or just
Nice.
Just sail.
You just sail. Because this is not a wolf ship, so you'll use the unspecialized version.
I do not see just sail.
Don't worry, just roll it.
Then, yeah, you can just roll an agility test. And that
Oh
will
yeah,
be
yeah,
the same.
basic agility is fine.
Okay. Uh-huh. Average?
Yes, average.
Alright. Let's go. I would like to reroll.
Okay, fair.
Uh-huh. Oh.
oh no!
How many times can I reroll rerolls?
You may not.
No.
Though, if you have 4 fortune points, you could make that into a pass.
Dang it. I only have 3.
Okay. Luckily, that doesn't really count as a crit fail as far as I'm concerned. I really only care about the doubles. But though you both fail rather spectacularly. So Dorothandrel, the drink's finally getting to you, and as the boat starts to pull away, it kind of shudders and starts to really go with the waves. And between the actual waves beneath you and then the drunkenness waves beneath you, as you step up to where the sail would be, your foot very determinedly goes down in a place where there should be ground, but there is no ground. And you plummet down. It's not a far fall. You don't get hurt by any means, but you do go down. It's painful, certainly, as you go down onto the wood below. Lenny, as you are pulling in the gangplank, and the ship starts to pull away. It's such a rushed procedure. It's so kind of cluttered and fast that instead of pulling it in proper, you start to pull it in, and its weight. Normally, Warmar would help you with this, but he's busy doing something else, and its weight is a little too much for you by yourself. And you're able to pull it a little bit, but as the ship starts going, the gangplank's still out, way out. And you slowly but surely start approaching another ship, and you hear a very distinct crack as the plank slams into this other ship. And you hold on. Roll me an average strength check.
Uh-huh.
You lose.
I would like to.
Oh, okay. You want to reroll?
I would like to spend 2 fortune points.
So okay, just making a pass. Okay.
Yeah.
So, by the skin of your teeth, quite literally, you are grunting with effort. Your lean muscles flexing with everything they have, as the gangplank grinds across this other ship, just carving into it, and you hear the sound of wood splitting as you are using yourself as a lever to hold on to it, and it's dragged across the prow of this other barge. And you hear someone on it, you hear a voice go, "What the fuck?" from up higher up, and you see a very angry individual looking down as you are basically holding a butter knife to his vessel, and just, it's not going to cause any severe damage, but boy, is it going to make you look ugly as sin. Roll me one.
You just keyed his boat.
Yeah, basically. Roll me as it pulls free. Roll me one more strength check. If Sigmund, do you have training in athletics?
I do.
Then you may assist. Also, fun new ruling. I really like the way Lawhammer does assists, because it makes way more sense to me than the base rule does. So the way assisting is going to work from now on is, if you are trained, you still have to be trained in the skill to provide an assist. But if you do an assist, what's going to happen now is you both will roll, and whoever gets the highest number of successes is the test we will actually go with, and anyone else who passed their test will provide an additional +1.
Okay.
So
Yep.
Can I roll as well? Am I anywhere in the immediate vicinity?
If you are trained in athletics, yes. So it is going to be an average strength for Lenny, but it will be a challenging athletics for the other two of you.
Oh, dang.
What the fuck?
Okay, so
Dang, Astro.
We're going to Foundry.
funny enough, Lenny actually wins, because
Yeah.
that's not a crit. It's just a very good roll, and Lenny's base stat is better. Actually, no, Lenny's base stat is worse, but it doesn't matter. You I forgot he had a +20. You succeed. That's all that matters. So with the help of Astaroth, Sigmund really isn't able to get great purchase on the wood.
Sigmund has 2 swords, a handgun, and a blunderbuss on his shoulders, and it's just like, I'm still struggling to figure things out.
He's a little over encumbered over there looking. So Sigmund isn't really able to help, but with Lenny's able to pull it aboard with Astaroth. The end of it is like pretty messed up, like the very bottom of it, instead of just being like a nice kind of smoothed out rectangle, there's a solid chunk ripped out of the corner that had been grinding along. It's all splintered and messed up, but function wise it's not that bad. You're able to kind of pull it on and set it down. And Yosef says, "We're off!" as you hear someone very loudly cursing and swearing at you from the Altdorf docks. With that, the sail of the Berebelli unfurls, and you head off into the port proper. As you're crossing the waters, Yosef laughs, finally back in his element, takes another big swig of wine, and as he's going, he goes, there you can see the Imperial First, the First Fleet. And sure enough, at his pointing, you see a great host of Imperial great ships and wolf ships and all these various vessels bristling with cannons. And he says, "One of the mightiest fleets in the Empire, a great and powerful force, surely no other nation can match." And there you can see the Emperor Lupo III, and you see a massive, monolithic vessel. And you shout, "She's got 1,000 cannons on that one." It
Never
looks...
put out to sea.
As Dorothandrel shout this, Joseph visibly deflates a little. And he looks over at Dorothandrel and goes, "Who's the captain here?"
This is a military vessel.
"No, it's a barge."
Aye, skipper. Captain's a military rank.
He looks and he goes, "I liked you better before you said that." Anyways, fucking elves aside, and you continue on. He points out a few other vessels that are far more sinister looking. They're more bulky, almost like box-like constructions. Definitely not meant to ever go anywhere near the ocean. He goes, "You see those there? Those are the prison hulks. They keep the most dangerous convicts. They're the ones that they don't even want to risk keeping on land, though they're actually run by the inmates. Terrible job maintaining those. They have a very ominous appearance to them. There are rags hanging from the barred windows, and it's not hard to see what may look like stains from here. Maybe that's just weathering. Who could say for sure? But it's not long before you're out the port proper, and you begin to turn your way on towards the river, and you start making your way inland, following on the direction that will take you towards the river Bogen proper. Okay, real quick, how are we doing on time? How is everybody?
I can keep going.
Same.
We good?
Maybe like a little bit longer, like maybe 20 minutes.
Okay, 20 more minutes. Cool. So you start to pull out from Altdorf. Turn page.
We lost you.
No, you didn't. I was turning pages.
Sorry.
No, you're all good. So as you are pulling out, the Berebelli leaves its moorings behind, and you pull onto the Kaiser Reich, which is a very large channel, is the largest channel, in fact, that passes through Altdorf. And Yosef starts calling out orders, grinning from ear to ear, saying, for pull the ropes this way, turn us this direction, as he's gesturing, or he's spinning the wheel about. He's talking to you, of course, about the various ships that you pass, and you continue to make your way out into the Weissbruck Canal. So for the Weissbruck Canal, as you pull out onto it, you arrive at the first of the locks. The way the Weissbruck Canal exists is that it has a series of locks that boats are able to sail into, and then it closes behind and helps balances kind of like the water level, and then the direction that you're going to go in opens up from there. So you are now back on this map because y'all have officially left Altdorf behind, and you begin to make your way down the Weissbruck River. And every once in a while on the Weissbruck Canal, You see, you hear Yosef shouting, blessings to Bogenhour, and you see him take, he reaches into his pocket and he takes out a vegetable. He takes out just like, and it's like a random assortment. It's not even a consistent vegetable. Like he'll pull out like a leek or an onion. And he just throws them overboard into the river. Not terribly often, but every once in a while he'll just chuck one down there. Actually, the Weissbruck Canal is not that river. It's this river. There we go. Actually, yeah, I think that, yeah, I believe that's the direction y'all are going. As you make it to the gate, you pull by on the very edges of Altdorf, the Altdorf flats. There's a man, a guard, standing at the entrance of the lock, and Joseph pulls the vessel up, pulls it to calls for it to come to a halt. He hops off, waddles over there, and you see he has a very brief discussion with the man. They exchange a few words. Joseph reaches into his pocket, pulls out some coin, hands it off to the man. The man nods, heads back. The lock opens as he gets back onto the ship, and he goes, "Onwards!" And you pull into it. He begins to ramble off about the history of the Weissbruck Canal. You hear all sorts of things about how it was originally created about 50 years ago. It's a glorious creation of the empire. 60 miles of river that's been expanded in recent times, actually. It's been expanded in quite a few locations to create essentially passing points, which has thankfully prevented it from getting nearly as clogged as it used to. And as you begin to make your way down the Weissbruck Canal proper, you begin to learn that these berthing points are very, very important. Because a problem becomes very apparent, which is that the Berebelli is very large. It takes up almost the entirety of the canal. So anytime as y'all are pressing forward, you see another boat coming. They are all considerably smaller than the Berebelli. And as you approach them, you hear Yosef go, "Back! Back!" And he just waves his hand towards them. "Back!" And you hear so many angry voices shouting up at you as these smaller vessels who would be crushed beneath the Berebelli are forced to come to a halt and start doing their best to reverse course and through whatever means they may have until they can get to one of those crossing points. And you hear so many people being shouting at you. You hear, "You're too big! Get your fat fucking barge off the Weissbruck! Go home, you bastard!" Just all sorts of people yelling at you. And the entire time, Yosef's just smiling, laughing, and saying, "Oh, blessing of Bogenhour be on you." He seems completely and utterly unperturbed. You continue to make your way down the river, and it's a bit of a journey. We're going to essentially fast forward a bit because nothing terribly important is going to happen. It starts to pour down rain, but ultimately you don't have any huge issues besides people just swearing at you profusely and occasionally having to come out to help Yosef with various matters, which granted is only an issue for those of you being paid. You're able to keep out of the worst of the rain and are able to relax by warm fires, drink, enjoy the amenities on the vessel. You get to actually meet Gilda, who is incredibly foul-mouthed. Every other word coming out of her mouth is a swear, but other than that, isn't too bad. There is a niceness to her hidden deep beneath the filth. That being said, Joseph continues to ramble on about all sorts of adventures he's had. You begin to get a very strong suspicion that he's full of shit. That maybe there's a grain of truth to all of the stories that he's telling, but every time he's told them, they tend to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And the versions you're hearing now are not terribly related to what they once were. He tells about a time where he saved a vessel of river wardens from an entire pack of river trolls by heroically ramming the Berebelli into them, impaling one of them on the fore of the ship, and then heroically shooting another with a gun that he no longer has because he had to pawn it off for wine money when times were hard. Or how there was a time that he actually met one of the Elector Counts, the Elector Count of Nuln, the Countess herself, had been passing, and she complimented the Berebelli on its incredible stock of wine and its beautiful appearance, which any of you that know anything about the Countess of Nuln, or have heard even the slightest of rumors of the Countess of Nuln, know that is completely impossible.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, you continue along, and beyond the rain, nothing too bad is going down. And you make your way to Weissbruck. All in all, the journey takes about 3 days. Going to advance the calendar. You do not have long before Midderful. What's up? Ben, were you about to say something?
Yeah, Hurls had to leave.
Oh, he did. Okay. Well then, that was abrupt. In that case,
Yep.
arriving at Weissbruck, y'all pull in to the city, the town, settlement, village, whatever, of Weissbruck, and that will be the end of today's session. Great job, y'all. 100 experience for everybody.
I completed my short-term goal.
Excellent. Then you will acquire an additional 50% experience. 50%. An additional 50 experience. And we'll need to pick a new short-term goal. So you can send that to me for approval when you got some free time.
Yep.
Just a reminder, this is our last session on Roll20. We are officially graduating from Roll20 to Foundry, since I have invested very heavily to get all the things, because I want to run a lot of these campaigns so I can actually get good at them. But awesome. Does everyone else, make sure you check your short terms, make sure you didn't accomplish it. Does anyone else have any questions, concerns, thoughts, anything before we go?
Is Joseph actually teaching me how to sail a river vessel?
Yes, he has nuggets of wisdom when he is a little less drunk from time to time. He does know his way around the ship, and he does teach you. Walmar is a bit more useful, but between the two of them, you are learning quite a bit about this type of barge.
I think he offered payment for helping with the boat. How much is that? Over 3 days?
Yes, you will get paid in Weissbruck at the start of next session.
Sounds good.
For your 3 days of service.
Nice.
Because I have to actually, you know what? Screw it. Let me just look it up real quick. Because I've got it written down here. I've got it here somewhere. It's 2 shillings per day.
Nice.
I believe all 4 of you are employed.
Yes.
Let's see here. It might be good to do it next session since Hurls isn't here.
Yeah, okay, we'll do it. No, just do it now, and it'll be easier for me to just remind him. I'll send him. I'll write in the. I'll send him a note in the DMs.
Yep.
So yeah, each of you gets 6 silver shillings.
Nice.
Actually, no. Make it 1 day, 2 days. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 6. Okay. Great. So Schaffenfest is coming up soon. We've got some things to do in Weissbruck, and yeah, all sorts of fun adventures await. So we will resume next week, I believe, and I will see you guys then. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm going to turn off the recording now.